All right, and we are live.
Well, hello. Good morning. Won't you tell me? I haven't tested levels or anything yet this morning. How are you? How are we sounding over there, mister?
Sounds great.
Welcome to the Wake.Show. This is the Wake.Show. It's the Wake.Show. You're streaming the Wake.Show. Just working on new intros for the Wake.Show. Make sure you share. Oh, did we have a winner come up here last night? It's okay if we messed up.
No, no. Short answer is no.
Did we ever message anybody? You notice I'm saying we, by the way.
Yeah.
I was supposed to take care of it a couple days ago, and I forgot.
I think I tried, but I don't think I got a response.
All right. Well, we'll try it again next time.
We'll get it right next month.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Fisher. Make sure you share this page. Thank you so much for all the shares. We were not expecting to do such a good week, such a big week this week, and I'm very excited about where the numbers are, how many views, clicks, shares, and total reach that the Wake.Show. But I guess you're excited because you're like, man, if this is week one, what about week 4? Week 20, week 30.
Right.
So hopefully those trends continue, but we'll have to bring the ruckus. Let's go over stuff okay. So yesterday we're talking, and coming in here trying to figure out exactly the format of the show, what we're going to do with this thing, because it's a combo, it's an amalgamation. Is that even a word?
Probably not.
Between radio and TV, right?
Yeah.
So it looks kind of like TV. But, in TV, they'll make sure that the microphones are pinned right here on the shirt, or they're hanging somewhere, and the microphones are off screen here. But this feels better to me, and I realized something. Okay. This is my service animal. This is my service animal. You remember when Bakemore Pies first invited me over here and said, "Fisher, we'd love for you to see our new studios, and we had this great state of the art. You're welcome to use it." And I get in there, and it's huge.
Yeah.
And it wasn't this, it wasn't this. It was the old, whatever. I think we set up a mic kind of like this, I think, for that first try.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be kind of off this way and picking me up, not something that, I can snuggle with. And so I'm like, man, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right in there, and this and this and this. And so found this little space inside of Bakemore Pies that's like a little closet somewhere. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Hey, this is perfect. And Cords, the owner, the guy whose vision is everything that's in this place, this is something he had not put anything in. He does have a vision for this room down the road, but it was not to do any video from.
That's right. It was not to do this.
So we get in here, set this up, and Jonny Torres, and I don't know who else you had working on this, but this is perfect. This is amazing. And I realized a couple days ago that this microphone, this little setup here, headphones on my head, is almost like a service animal for me. Huh. This is where I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, out there, it's like somebody being without their service animal in the middle of a diner where there's clanging and clanking going on, and somebody drops a dish or something like that, and their PTSD goes off. Well, out in the middle of that huge studio you guys had for me, well, not for me, I mean your studio that I was sitting in, I felt like, man, just there, like anything could go down at any time, and I can't, I can't protect myself.
It's a big space. It can be intimidating. I can see how it could be intimidating.
Although there is something to be said for being for people like me, performers, that what comes from awkward moments and spaces and times.
Sure.
But once we found this little room here, and then I brought in my own microphone and my little board here and my computer that I've created. This is my service animal. And so there's a part of me that thinks that I need to get this certified and then take it with me everywhere I go. I always have headphones and a microphone dangling from my neck, and people are like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, this is my service gear. This is my therapy equipment. I have no there's something wrong with me in a normal working environments. However, I throw on some headphones and stick a giant phallic in my face, and all of a sudden I'm at home. Wait a second.
Hey
now. So here we are. And in talking about the format and whatever of the show, we included stuff you should know. And for those of you that were listening to my radio show going back to a long time, stuff you should know. And even in the old days, it was called 5 Things You Need to Know. was a feature. So we're like, all right, well, let's do something like that. And what stuff you should know. So stuff you should know became all the stuff that I was bringing to the table. Here's stuff you should know. But yesterday, a good conversation with Cords and with Johnny. I was like, well, I feel like stuff you should know should be more like, headlines. Say, boom, here's stuff you should know. Literally, boom, boom, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right?
Yep.
And then we can go back and, break down these stories of the day and, and whatnot and have our conversation. So,
and that's, I don't know, maybe it's just perception, but when I used to listen to you on 97X, like that's how I remember it, right?
Oh, you were 100% right.
Oh, okay. All right. I wasn't sure if I was just imagining things, but I felt that, you would do the rundown and then you'd kind of break up the stories.
I don't know that segment was a minute and a half, 2 minutes long.
Wow.
All right. So I go, you're right. That is a great idea. So I'll get up early and put together the headlines. Set my alarm for 4:20. And no, not for any giggly reasons. It's just 4 is too early, 4:30 is too late. So 4:20, 4:20 is really what 4:20 is I get to hit snooze once, and then it's 4:30, and I'm up out of bed.
Right.
So you ever have that moment where your eyes open
every day,
but your alarm's not going off. And you're sitting there thinking for a second going, I feel like my alarm should have already gone off.
Yep.
That was this morning. And I look over, it's already after 5 o'clock, and I am just annoyed. It's not one of those anxious feelings. I'd have been anxious if it were 6 o'clock.
Sure.
Because that means I should be running out the door and I haven't prepared for anything. And but 5 o'clock still gives me a couple minutes to prepare, but not to put together the headlines like I would want to. The stuff you should know I would want to. So I'm going to do a ghetto version of it today. Wait, was that racist?
A little.
God damn it. Everything. I hate that I've become so aware that everything that comes out of my mouth is offensive. It shuts me down, Johnny.
It's not you.
It's not just me.
No.
It is me. It's just not just me. All right, so like my mom used to say, Mickey Mouse version.
Okay.
A Mickey Mouse version of stuff you should know. So here's how we're going to do it. I've got all my tabs lined up. Here's how stuff you should know is going to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's stuff you should know for Friday, November, I'm going to say 16th?
17th.
Damn. November 17th. First.
Off to a great start.
First thing you need to know, it's not November 14th. All right, first up, Seminole Heights resident proposed bunker lookout strategy to capture killer. The search for a heartless killer. Why are they so certain it's one person?
Probably just because of the video footage.
I've already screwed up. See, that's the problem. I've already screwed up stuff you should know. I need to just go bam, 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 bam. Then we can come back and break down stuff throughout the show.
Sorry, let's go. Start again.
Here's stuff you should know for Friday, November 17th. Seminole Heights residents propose a bunker lookout strategy to capture killer. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up with the Wake.Show. Sylvester Stallone is the next one who has been caught up in this. And this is more than just sexual this is, sexual assault here. This isn't somebody being a little aggressive and trying to make out with somebody. How Sylvester Stallone was accused. Now, granted, excuse me.
Wow. Bless you.
I should sneeze right into the camera. All right, next time that happens, I'm going to go hit the slow-mo button. Splat. Now, the Daily Mail, that's not legit, right? I mean, they have legit stories.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like the Inquirer, isn't it?
A little bit, I think. Yeah, I think it's kind of that in-between.
Okay. How Sylvester Stallone was accused of sexually assaulting a 16. There I go again. I'm asking you questions. We're getting into a conversation. I should have just read the headlines. I'm not good at this.
Take 3.
I don't know how I made it 25 years on the radio. How Sylvester Stallone was accused of sexually assaulting a 16-year-old fan. Police report reveals girl claimed the star made her give him and his bodyguard oral and threatened they would beat her head in if they told anybody. We'll come back to that story. Denver doctor says 11-month-old deadly heart condition was likely related to marijuana. Quote, as of this writing, this is the first reported pediatric death associated with cannabis exposure. Why does this make me sad? Well, because, 11-month-old is dead. That's why. Okay, that's not why it makes me sad. It's because one of the bragging rights of the marijuana smoker, the partaker, is that marijuana doesn't kill anybody. Nobody ever died of a marijuana overdose. Well, now we're going to have to delve a little bit more into that. Here in Tampa, a Tampa church warns, we are armed and ready to use deadly force. We'll talk about what's on the marquee of that church here. Please don't be Florida. Please don't. It's Florida.
Yeah. And Tampa.
Elon Musk of Tesla unveils the fastest production car ever in a shock announcement. Now, this isn't going to come out for, I think, until 2020, but we'll come back to this story and we'll dig deeper, because just because a man comes out and says, hey, this is what this car is going to do, doesn't mean it's going to do it. Ohio State University has suspended all fraternities due to hazing and alcohol violations. We did a story on this. Was it earlier this week or late last week when we were doing the test shows?
That's right.
How Florida State had done something similar. We'll come back to that story. Sex robots.
I don't know about you, but I keep up with my robot news.
Do you? Will you keep up with your sex robot news? Or is that all? It's an umbrella. Well, there's
an enthusiast. What can I say?
There's a showroom where you can test drive these sex robots.
Oh God!
And no, that's not one of them. That's on your screen right now. That's Angelina Jolie. She wants to talk about, or she was talking about, sexual violence and trying to get the world to understand that sex violence is not about sex. It's about power and control. She gave the keynote speech at a UN peacekeeping summit on Wednesday. We'll go over that on the show. In Colorado, I was going to say this is only in America kind of a story, but it's not. Voters elect a known killer, an admitted murderer to the school board. And you're thinking, well, is that any different than the Philippines electing a murderer as the president? We'll talk about it coming up on the Wake.Show today. Also, the Keystone Pipeline leaks 210,000 gallons of oil in South Dakota. Boston University professor under fire for leaving a Yelp review, calling a restaurant employee fat. What's wrong with people? Sorry, did you hear that F-bomb? It didn't make it out, did it?
It's all right.
What the F is wrong with people? Royal cameo Prince William and Harry to appear in the new Star Wars film. And lastly, the world's first human head transplant is successfully carried out. Did you guys see the videos last year or the year before of the team of scientists who had transplanted, did a head transplant on a monkey, on a macaque, I believe?
No.
And it worked? Well, it's the same people. We'll get to that. And that is on the Wake.Show today. So stuff you should know would be kind of like that, except not as on the fly. Was that closer, John?
I think that was what we're going for.
Do we need a little music bed for it?
Probably.
The music bed that do you recall the music that was underneath it when I used to do it back in the day?
If I heard it, I know I'd recognize it, but I don't remember it off the top of my head.
It was a surfy sounding song. It was from Pulp Fiction. Let me see if I have that. No, I'm typing in Pulp. That isn't there.
Oh, I think I know what song you're talking about.
But that's obviously copyrighted music. So maybe we'll have to get something that is either public domain.
Yeah.
Like maybe the music bed underneath stuff you should know is Happy Birthday or
which I don't think is public domain.
It is now.
It is now?
It is of this year or last year. But yeah, somebody owned that for quite some time, and you technically couldn't do it in public without the rights.
I don't think you can publicly do it in public.
Yes, you can.
Period.
Yes, you can, sir. All right. No. Well, let's clear that up right now. Let's see here. Happy birthday song. No, because this was a big deal. There was a friend of mine that worked at a home shopping network.
Yeah.
And she was telling me about how somebody had called in. You know how they're selling their products. We'll put some people on the air to talk about they've gotten the product and they love it and this and that. Well, somebody calls in. It was their birthday, and the host started to sing "Happy Birthday to You." Da da da.
Sure.
And they ended up getting a C&D, a cease and desist, a cease and desist from whoever it was that thought they owned the rights to it at the time. Because I believe the way that this went down, it was going through the courts, And the courts finally decided, no, this isn't your song. So let's, what would I, happy
Well, there's an
birthday song?
expiration date on it, I think, right? Like after a certain number of years.
Publishing rights.
Well, good morning, everybody watching. Don't forget, if you don't mind, just hitting that share button real quick. Quick shout out to Mr. Cords Owen, Jeff God Charles, Catherine, Mike, John, David. What up?
Happy birthday is public domain former owner Warner Chappell to pay $14 million. The public will soon be free to sing the world's most famous song. You were right up until last year.
Okay.
This is from February of 2016.
Yep.
Music publisher Warner Chappell will no longer be allowed to collect licensing royalties on those who sing Happy Birthday in public and will pay back $14 million to those who have paid for licensing in the past. The settlement is a result of a lawsuit filed in 2013 by a filmmaker who challenged the Happy Birthday copyright. Happy Birthday has the same melody as Good Morning to You, a children's song dating back to the 19th century. But despite the song's murky early history, music publisher blah, blah, blah has stuck to the story that the song was copyrighted in 1935 and a royalty had to be paid for its public use. So I'm not going to delve into that. I just wanted to clear up that Happy Birthday, believe it or not, most people I didn't even know this. That that's why when you would go into restaurants and they do their Happy Birthday song is not Happy Birthday. It's Happy Birthday to you and you and you, and eat some food. That's because they could not sing Happy Birthday to you in those restaurants.
They all had to come up with their own thing.
All right, let's get back to Tampa and the Seminole Heights serial killer or whatever is going on. Right now, the residents are proposing a bunker lookout. This is coming from ABC Action News. The search for a heartless killer stalking victims in the night, then murdering them in cold blood is a desperate... See, the question that I posed to you earlier, Johnny, when I was talking about the possible motivation...
Yeah.
Behind this individual, and I know they think it's one person, but I'm like, man, maybe it's because you threw out the gentrification theory yesterday.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to me. There's a growing resentment against gentrification. It displaces a lot of families. Not that, hey, look, I'm for progress, and honestly, to see. It's a big debate, right, as to the pros and cons of gentrification, and
right, you displace the people who were there.
That's
a
right.
lot of them anyway,
through property values and property taxes and rent increases and things like that. And slowly but surely, you get we're already seeing in Seminole Heights the slow creep of hipster restaurants and coffee bars and and there there's already a Starbucks right there at the exit of Hillsborough and 275. Little things like that start to creep in, and it starts to push out families that have lived there for decades.
I was listening to or watching a guy, I guess a resident of that area, who was pleading with the residents of Seminole Heights, saying, "Listen, we know who he is. There are people out there that know who this guy is. Don't protect him. He is just walking around murdering people. Please, somebody come forward." So I guess there's that part of it too, that maybe people do know who this guy is in the area, but it's that old snitches ditches thing. Or snitches get stitches or whatever it is.
I don't get the feeling that that's what's going on. I mean, obviously, the cops' instinct is that's currently the case, because they're like, how can this guy wander around and not know, and nobody know him, right? Or nobody spot him? Or I think the guy operates at night, seemingly, and has been able to kind of cover his tracks pretty well.
All right, so let's move on to Tampa Church. It warns we are armed and ready to use deadly force now. Jonny Torres, you've tracked somebody down from this church, right?
Yeah, so...
do we need to fire him up through Facebook, or how are we doing this?
Are you able to call him through the laptop?
You mean like make a phone call?
Yeah, do FaceTime audio.
The times that I've tried to do that, it won't let me. Remember, you and I tried to do FaceTime last week at some point. You remember it wouldn't pick up the audio board, or the audio wouldn't pick up?
Oh.
And then I remember when I was doing the F&K podcast.
Yeah.
You know what we could do? Because I know that you already booked this guy.
Yeah.
It might not be the best, but we could call him and just and keep the the phone up to the. I mean, like, again.
Yeah, is the audio?
That's Mickey Mouse.
Is the audio input? Is it an analog or is it a digital output from your computer there.
To you is analog, but yeah, from my computer into the board is digital.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so I see what you're saying, but he wouldn't be able to hear us at that point. Never mind. So we tried doing the same thing with the F and K, and we were able to Skype in people, but not FaceTime people. So Apple's obviously rigged up their system, so they're not going to allow that kind of stuff, and I don't know how to get around it.
Okay.
Do you want to message him or her and see if we can connect with them through Facebook Messenger if they're on Facebook?
Let me try that. Okay. But here, I'm going to send you the number just in case. But we can go ahead and start talking about the story just to get everybody caught up on the background.
Welcome to the river at Tampa Bay Church. Right of admission reserved. This is a private property. Warning. Please know this is not a gun-free zone. We are heavily armed. Any attempt will be dealt with deadly force. Yes, we are a church and we will protect our people. Signed, the pastors. This is coming from TampaBay.com. If you are an evildoer wishing to bring harm to the members of the river at Tampa Bay Church, don't expect congregants to turn the other cheek. They'll blast you. To say a sign, so says the sign at the church there, which is 3738 River International Drive in Tampa, that delivers a stark warning to anyone thinking of wreaking havoc. That's what I just read to you. The message is signed by the pastors. The sign at the 21-year-old church is put up about a year ago. So that thing's already been up a year. This wasn't even response to the church shooting 2 weekends ago.
Oh, see, I thought that's exactly what it was.
Oh. The sign has been up about a year, but it made a recent splash on social media when the senior pastor Rodney Howard Brown posted it on Instagram in the wake of the deadly church shooting in Sutherland Springs. It is a deterrent. Is it? Well, here's the thing. Here's why. That's what I'm gonna throw out at you. I know I bring this up every single day, and you're gonna call me out on it at some point. Me and my wife bought a house recently, and going through the process of getting security put in the house. We went through ADT, and so they give you the sign to put out in your yard. In front of the house.
Yep.
So I pound that thing into the ground, and then the next day, my wife comes home with a light. One of those little solar lights you just put into the ground, sure. and it collects sun during the day and shines a little light. And she put it right up onto that ADT sign. And I took the sign and I moved it back probably 5 feet from that sign, 6 feet from. I brought it back towards the sidewalk so it illuminated the flower bed there, whatever that is, a little plant bed leading
sure.
up to the front of the house.
Right.
And it also hit the sign. And she's like, what are you doing? It's not illuminating the sign. I go, yes, it is. It's perfect. She wants that thing right up on there so when people see, hey, we got security and we are highlighting it. And in my head, I'm like, I feel like you might be poking the wrong criminal mind. Like the wrong criminal mind sees that and goes, I see what they're doing there. They want to say, hey, we got ADT, stay out. Well, I'll show those mother effers. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so I don't. I'm not saying that's the way people would look at it, and it would probably take a very special criminal mind to go, oh, they want to. They're trying. They're taunting me. I
think it's a deterrent to an extent. I think. Like the simple act of locking your cars, right? So I moved, but I used to live in a nicer neighborhood before, and sometimes the simple act of leaving your car open almost guaranteed they were going to break into your car. I mean, there were people coming through the neighborhood, and at night they would check the car doors, and if your car was unlocked, your stuff would be gone. If you locked your car, your stuff would still be there. And so in a way, I think it does deter some crime. Or at least the attempt, right? Because
I agree.
Especially now with cameras and stuff, I think they're less likely to try to hit your place. If
we also got to remember the people that are breaking into your house are not criminal masterminds for the most part.
Sure,
they are drug addicts who are on the verge of losing it and are doing anything and everything their brain can come up with to try to satiate whatever addiction they have or whatever the hell's going on.
Yep.
They might see who knows how it registers at the time when they are in their desperate need of whatever fix that they need.
But and we'll obviously talk about this if you want to go ahead and try to pull up Alan. He's going to be our guest.
Do you want me to go ahead and call him right here? You just do it this way that we were talking about?
Try the Facebook real quick if you can.
Are you sure? All right.
He said he's got it open, so ideally that would work so everybody can hear him really well.
Or FaceTime you're talking about.
No, Facebook.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so my point is that if you look at what happened in Vegas and you look at what happened in Texas, specifically with the church, right? So comparing apples to apples, I think you're going to find yourself in a situation where the person that would commit this sort of thing, that probably would not work on. I think the person that is willing to come to a church with weapons to commit any kind of hostility, murder or otherwise, I think is not going to be taking a moment to read the intimidating sign on the door.
All right, so I pulled up your boy Alan. How do you know Alan?
So through a friend, my friend Amber. She is a congregant, I guess, a member of this church, and so she put me in touch with Alan, and Alan is the associate pastor at the River Church.
All right, so I just messaged him. I go to click on either calling or video calling. It says Alan is currently unavailable for video calling, currently unavailable for voice calling. But I just sent him a friend request, so I don't know if that is predicated.
You tried messaging him too?
That's what I just did, message him.
Okay.
Good morning. This is Chris Fish. Well, I guess he knows who, it pops up who I am.
So, little movie magic here.
Hey, this is again. If this were radio or television, we'd go to break first.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break right now. Blah de blah de blah. When we come back, blah de blah de blah. There are no breaks to be taken. So you get to see behind the scenes of what happens when breaks are taken. How do we get a hold of this guy? What are we doing next? What the hell? Let's see. So I guess I'll wait for him to message back. What do you know about this church?
It's a very conservative church. It's I believe I don't know. I've heard mixed things. Either it's non-denominational, which I don't believe to be the case, or I've also heard maybe it's Pentecostal. So we'll have to ask him about that.
Okay. But they put this sign. This sign has been up on their marquee for quite some time, I guess. They say it's a deterrent. Look at what is going on in the past 2 months. Look at what happened in Texas. Look at what happened in Las Vegas, because we are a church that is on television. We are very involved in the community. We want people to know this is a safe zone. But I guess because one of the things that it pings in me is somebody, even on their side, they're saying this sign has been up for a year, okay? But then the guy, after what happened a couple weeks ago, takes a picture of it, puts it online. It's like, hey, everybody, look at this. Well, again, to me, it seems like you're chancing, poking the wrong criminal mind.
Right, because you're thinking that somebody would be willing to challenge the sign. That,
yes. And I don't know if that's just because that's part of my personality. By the way, no, not to go in and shoot up a place. I'm talking about much lower level. Like, for instance, when I was a child, there was a guy in the neighborhood who was a dick. He was an antisocial recluse. It's not fair. I look back at it now and I think about people like that. I'm like, screw people like that. But in the end, they have their own issues too. They're antisocial. They don't get along with people. They don't want people around them. Yeah, and as long as they go off into the middle of nowhere and don't all of a sudden get angry at everybody else because they're the ones that are antisocial and grab a 50 caliber rifle and 20 other effing weapons and head to the a room in Mandalay Bay and start slaughtering everybody else just because they don't get along with them.
Yeah.
Well then, man, I feel bad now. I've put this old neighbor in the same category as a mass murderer.
Oh man.
So anyway, this guy who didn't like people put up, and we just had this little, we're in a little neighborhood. It's not a nice neighborhood. It's a little neighborhood.
Yeah.
He puts up all these no trespassing signs or keep off the grass. I can't remember signs. There was 3 of them along the front of his little plot there. And I mean, I was not even 10 years old, but it registered in my brain as something that was not right. And I don't know why. So for some reason, I sat on one of the signs, twisted my butt a little bit, just kind of went, doop, and it popped the sign off and it just fell onto the ground. I only did it once. I didn't do it to all 3 of them. And went home, and next thing you know, my mom's getting, I guess he saw me or something, and I'm getting in all kinds of trouble. However, the man, if he never put any signs up in his grass, I wouldn't have wandered in his grass and nobody else would have even noticed. But since he was such an antisocial prick, it just registered the wrong way. So you're saying, Fisher, according to the story that I just heard you tell, you're saying that you're that criminal mind that will see something like that and then decide to challenge it. No, that's not where I was going with anything. What I was saying, this is a spectrum. Let me check on this guy real quick.
But it goes into the psychology of it, and I think especially as a kid, you're going to challenge that sort of thing.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and hit this. It says currently unavailable, so it's not going to do anything.
Well, let's just try the phone then.
It's saying the same thing there.
Yeah.
Let's see. For some reason.
Or I can do it here if you want. I can call him from mine.
Yeah, give it a try.
All right, let me just call him from mine and.
Huh.
Good morning, Alan.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Swell, thanks for asking. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. You sound kind of far away, so if I hopefully you can hear me okay.
We can hear you okay. Is he hearing me in the back, not through the microphone? Do you think he's not getting the feed from my end?
Well, it's on my phone, so.
Oh, it's on your. So you go ahead and conduct the. Either I come around to your end there to ask him questions, or you conduct the interview.
Yeah, let me
there.
just change my phone. Hold on.
Oh, you called him on your phone.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
I thought you meant to Facebook him.
Well, I don't think he got your Facebook message. So.
Well, he did. It said good. He said good morning back.
Were you able to call him through Facebook?
No, but it said it wasn't. It's not available. Is he not around Wi-Fi or something?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's just do it this way.
I'm not sure if there's something I did not do that I should have done.
I don't know. I don't know if you've got that feature turned off. It says Alan is currently unavailable for video calling or calling, but that's all right. No worries. No worries. Let's do it this way. All right. We'll just ask you a few questions. First of all, thank you for getting up this morning and hopping on the show with us.
Oh, no problem. Good morning.
Good morning. It's funny because, the story that's making the rounds, welcome to the river at Tampa Bay Church, right of admission reserved. This is private property. Warning, please know this is not a gun-free zone. We are heavily armed. Any attempt will be dealt with deadly force. Yes, we are a church and we protect our people. Assign the pastors. Well, a lot of people are thinking that this is something that just went up recently after the shootings in Texas a couple of weeks ago, but this has been up for nearly a year, right?
Yeah, it actually has. It's been up for over a year, which is kind of funny that it is going kind of viral right now. But I think obviously a number of things has made that happen. One, our pastor reposted it right about, I think it was 2 days after the shootings in Texas. And it has definitely, gone viral through social media. So, but it has been up on our church property for over a year.
How many members do you get there at average on a Sunday?
Well, if you ask members and average attendance of the church building, the building itself, we have right now on the floor over 1,500 chairs. Oh, wow. You can max the building at 1,800, but there's that. We have several thousand members because we meet in different locations. We meet even different locations on our property because we have a Spanish church and different things. So I don't have exact numbers, but there's thousands of members, and the main building by itself will fit just as it is now over 1,500, and we can fit up to 1,800 without breaking any fire codes.
So when you guys put this, when the pastors put this warning up last year, was there a sermon around it? Like, let me explain what this is.
Well, yeah. Basically, in a way, our pastor, Pastor Rodney Howard Browning, number one, he's very vocal. He is
obviously.
He's from South Africa, but he's a U.S. citizen. He's got he is a full-fledged, sworn-in American citizen himself and his wife and children, and a major supporter of the Second Amendment. And that's something we've always been. We've given away AR-15s on Sunday morning. We definitely have been a church. So as far as Pastor Rodney, when he put that up, however, it was still very much so in light of many of the things that we've seen happen over the past several years. So it wasn't just something he thought of, hey, let's just put up a sign. When we looked at what took place in Charleston, during the prayer meeting. That was a pretty heavy catalyst for us, because we are a ministry that is on television and a ministry that is very involved in the community. So people do know our stances, and because we have so many people that come in as visitors and from around the city, Pastor put this up as a deterrent, that anyone that would think they're going to come to our church and do what this gentleman did in Charleston, and the one that did in Nashville, and the one that did in Texas, would think twice before coming in after seeing that sign.
Once this sign went up, was there is there open carry in your church? Like if I go to your church on a Sunday, will I see people with sidearms or?
No, there's no open carry. And our first line of security is we do have the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office does come on Sunday mornings, so the presence of a deputy is there. Sometimes 2 deputies are actually there. And we have our own security, but nobody is outside of a deputy. Nobody is walking around in open carry. It's not legal to do it in the state of Florida anyway. But we don't have anything like that. So you're not going to walk in and see a bunch of members carrying their AR-15s in one hand and the Bible in the other.
Was there ever any talk or any concern over the message taunting the criminal mind? A little earlier, I was talking to Jonny Torres how, we just recently bought a house. We put a security system in, and they give you that ADT sign to put out front. And my wife went and bought a light and shined it right on the sign and nothing else. And I backed the light up so it was shining on the entire flower bed and the light. And because I was like, I don't want, the criminal mind that's walking down the street looking for the house to walk into to go, oh, I see, that's a little challenge. They put that light there to go, hey, see, we have ADT. There's nothing, you can't get in here, or don't even try. And then all of a sudden it becomes a challenge. Was there any talk about, hey, this might be provoking the wrong kind of person?
No, and to be honest with you, because in many ways, number one, it's never really been a reason to. There's no need. We've never felt we needed to do that. But at the same time, I don't know that I would say that the reason was to taunt, but Pastor has been very vocal to say, however, anybody that comes here is going to see that sign and going to know, but he's never gone out and put an official decree out to the city, what we do or anything of that nature. That's never been the intentions. This was seriously it was a deterrent to anyone that would come to the property and see that, or anybody thinking to come to the ministry. It is a deterrent. So, but I can't speak for what's in his mind on whether or not he is trying to taunt, but knowing him for 15 years, that's not his nature. So I would not imagine that's why he's doing that.
Well, I also see that the pastor there has been focusing talking a lot about what's been happening in Seminole Heights recently as well.
Absolutely. Well, why wouldn't we? This is our community. This is our home. These are our people. If you look at like we do, I said this yesterday to CBS. I said, the fact is that this is our home, and so as far as we're concerned, the church is not a building, right? The church of Jesus Christ is a body. It's people. So you can take my building, I can replace the building, but I can't replace people. And so for us, we look at this as that with what's happening now in Seminole Heights, we look at what just happened in, of course, Texas, which everybody knows about, of course, what's in Vegas and Nashville. When do you start taking precautions? Do you wait for one more shooting? Do you wait for one more person to be murdered, and that's when you take precaution? Or do we do it now?
Well, Alan, thank you so much for coming on the show with us today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Have a great day, sir.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye. All right there. All right. Well, that worked. We got through that interview.
It did. It sounded good.
Yeah, it actually didn't sound too bad. I just feel bad, you're not able to chime in.
No, it's good.
I should have yelled across the room. Hey, Johnny, do you have any questions for him before I get him off the phone?
Ask him about the thing.
Didn't we hear something about snake wrangling? No, I'm just kidding. That's very interesting. Because you have churches out there who have the exact opposite view, is that we're protected by God.
Right.
We don't need to have that kind of stuff in here. And if it's our time, if whatever reason the physical realm has come to take us out, well, then there's a reason behind that, and we will go on to the next realm, the next world.
Well, and
there.
If it had been the case where, and again, this is kind of where I struggle a little bit personally, just in terms of the limitations that maybe there should be, or maybe the boundaries, for the Second Amendment, is that I don't know that I would want to go to a church where I know that
people are packing.
Not because I'm afraid of it, not because I take issue with it. But because I just don't think it's appropriate. I don't think that in a house of worship that having a weapon on you is appropriate. It's
I'm with you, but I'm with you. But I also know that there are a lot of people who are very insecure right now. They do not feel safe,
sure,
even in their own church, their own homes, their own church, their own car. And so, our brains, our minds go to, what can we do to make me feel safe? And for some people, the great equalizer is having a weapon. And I know that we can get into an intellectual discussion about whether or not somebody with a weapon's actually going to thwart anything or save the day. But that's not my point. My point is about how they feel in that moment, how you feel in that moment when you're brandishing a sidearm, when you've got a weapon, and whether you actually in the end will be the winner of whatever gun battle goes down is moot. Because going out the door or going to your church or wherever it is, if you got it on you or it's in your car or however it is you feel comfortable, it just makes you feel comfortable. And then you hope you never have to use it, I guess.
I guess what also kind of just weirds me out a little bit about it is that, and this is going to sound like a horrible comparison, but when you read the sign and it says that they are heavily armed and that they will use deadly force, like I remember the whole Waco thing, right, in Texas, where they had this compound, and mind you, that was a cult, so again, not a fair comparison, but that's kind of the first thing that comes to mind is, like, I'm imagining this church full of people and they're all like sitting there with weapons.
Oh, I see.
And or waiting for some horrible scenario to take place.
But that's the thing too about the religions that have the end of world prophecies. You have those people that live in modern times going, well, this is the end of war. So to them, the way they see the world, we're already at war. You're already at war. It's already the end times. Things are playing out just like they were prophesized. And so you have millions of people around the world hunkering down and preparing for when Satan's knocking at their door. So I think this is just an extension of that. Or am I being a little bit too, I don't know, am I trying to connect too many things here? No. Some of the comments that come from the story itself at TampaBay.com. This is reality, and if you don't like it, don't come running for aid from a person who has his concealed when your kid is being sodomized or dragged into a car.
Jesus Christ.
So here we go. This good person. It's one thing to start with. The reality is this. And so but the reality is, if you don't like it, don't come running to the aid of somebody with a gun if your kid's being sodomized and you're against this right now. Don't come to me. If your child is being dragged off the playground into somebody else's car to become victimized, don't come to me because you don't believe in this right now. Well, it's a good thing that Jesus doesn't have the same approach.
Why are the comment sections always like the dumpster fire of the internet?
It is, and if you sit there and focus on one, you just get angry. The next one, shouldn't it be heavenly armed? Which the NRA must be thrilled. That's another one. But here's the one I want to get to: the paranoid cult of religionism. I avoid congregations now because I don't want their disease. There is that aspect of it as well. I know a lot of religious people who are not going to church anymore. That they've got their Bibles, they've got their group of people that they interact with, and they don't need to become part of a congregation either.
Well, and some of my religious friends will tell you that church can be anywhere where, what is it? There's a Bible verse about it, and where I guess like 2 or more people
gather in my name.
Yeah, exactly. And
there I will be. I don't know. Whatever. Something along those lines. All right, welcome to the Wake.Show. I'm Fisher along with Jonny Torres. Thank you so much for participating in this. Please leave comments, interact with the show as we go along, as we pose questions and go over stories. Share and like, especially if we hit on something that you think a friend of yours might be interested in. Go, hey, Tommy, check this out. They're talking about your favorite subject. No.
And trashing you for it.
Oh, we can promote this and get it out there a little bit. Right, we went over the Seminole Heights thing. Let's get to Sly, son of a gun. How Sylvester Stallone was accused of sexually assaulting a 16-year-old fan. Police reports reveals girl claim star made her give him and his oral and threatened they would beat her head in if she ever told. Here are the bullet points. Coming from the Daily Mail. Keep that in mind. It's the Daily Mail, which, if I remember correctly, is kind of like the Inquirer of the UK. It doesn't mean they don't get some stuff right. The actor, let's see, Sylvester Stallone was accused of sexually assaulting the 16-year-old in 1986 when he was filming Over the Top in Vegas. The actor, who was 40 at the time, met the teenager while he was filming at the former Las Vegas Hilton Hotel and was given keys to his room. Stallone allegedly had sex with the girl, telling her she was very tight before asking the minor if she'd ever had sex with two men at the same time. The girl claims Stallone's bodyguard, Mike DeLuca, who was in the bathroom until Stallone brought him out, forced her to give him oral. After performing oral on DeLuca for some time, the teen claims he penetrated her while she was made to perform oral on Stallone. Is this okay, by the way?
It's awfully.
I mean, it is graphic.
Yeah,
it is graphic.
It's a little heavy for.
Little much
for 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, this is a format where we can get out those kind of details. I mean,
no, yeah.
I'm reading from the story. I'm not getting salacious with it. I'm not. The teen told police she became very uncomfortable with DeLuca, joined in on the sexual encounter, but said she felt she had no choice in the matter. Afterwards, the teen claims Stallone said she could not tell anyone because both men were married, and if she said anything, quote, they would have beat her head in, unquote. Police said she decided not to press charges against the men because she was scared and humiliated. If you have any information, please contact blah, 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 blah.
So is this this is what I don't understand. So was this filed already, like back then? Was this no. So where's it coming from? I mean, is it...
Well,
because they're asking for more information. Well, who would have more information?
Let's see. Retired Las Vegas Metro Police Department Detective Sergeant John Simolovich, who was the head of the sexual assault unit at the time, confirmed to the Daily Mail that the copy of the oh wait, there was
police report.
Well, right here says she decided not to press charges at the time, so she went to him at first, but then said no on the charges.
Again, for fear, I guess, of repercussion.
The spokesperson for Stallone says this is ridiculous, categorically false. No one is ever aware of this story until it was published today, including Mr. Stallone. At no time was Mr. Stallone ever contacted by any authorities or anyone else regarding this matter. After the incident, the team claimed Stone threatened her. She couldn't tell anyone. They would beat her head in. The unidentified teen ultimately decided not to pursue charges against either man because she was humiliated and scared. At the time of the incident, Stallone, now 71, was 40. Police were alerted to the incident when a hotel employee called police to report that a friend of the victim said she needed advice on the matter. So there's that part. When officials tracked down the teen, she relayed details of the alleged assault to them. She said she was staying at the Las Vegas Hilton Hotel with family and friends for 10 days from July 18th to July 28th of that year. During that time, he happened to be filming that movie Over the Top. When the teen met the actor, he was playing Stallone's, met the actor David Mendenhall, who was playing Stallone's son in the film at the Hotel Arcade. He introduced her and her cousin to Stallone on Wednesday, July 23rd, 1986. In the following days, the cast and crew of the movie continued filming at the hotel. And on Friday, the teen said she saw Stallone and got his autograph. According to the police report, Stallone asked the girl how old she was, and after learning she was 16, he asked her how she got such a build.
Well, and so the issue here is that is she coming forward now, or is she going to come forward now? It sounds like basically this police detective or whoever the guy was from the police department is basically just saying, hey, look, this happened. Nothing came of it, but it happened. And it doesn't seem like it's the girl that's coming forward at all, but just this guy who just recalls this incident and this report from having taken place.
So the next day, the teen said she returned to the area in the hotel where the crew was filming with a larger picture for Stallone to autograph for her so she could give it to a friend. There she met DeLuca, this is Stallone's bodyguard, and who allegedly asked the team if Stallone made a pass at her, what she would do. Allegedly, what she said back was, I'd make a pass back at him. So DeLuca gave her 2 keys for a room on the 27th floor. I mean, this is all very detailed.
Yeah.
27th floor, and told her to go up to the room as soon as possible. That night, the teen claims she went up to the 27th floor where she met Stallone and DeLuca in the hallway together. They all went to the hotel suite. From there, the teen said that she and Stallone went into a bedroom, got undressed, and began having intercourse. The teen told police that they really didn't have sex because Stallone only inserted himself a little way into her and only kept it in for a few seconds. Is this stuff too much, too?
I don't know.
Stallone remarked to the girl that she was very tight. I guess that's the kind of stuff that.
It's I mean, much. I just don't think that we need to get that into it. I mean, what's interesting is that because all of this is coming out now about so many celebrities and political figures, and so now people are trying to draw lines, right? Like they're trying to say, well, for instance, with the story that came out yesterday about Al Franken, they're trying to say, well, that was a long time ago, and and he was just being a comedian, and and she didn't file any charges, and and so at what point do you draw the line, or is there a line, and is there kind of an expiration date?
Are you talking about like the difference between these two stories?
Yeah, so this is coming out now. Is he now going to have to pay some sort of repercussion or penalty because this happened, when it did, or if it did? I mean, because it's obviously incredibly well detailed, and again, not that the source is.
Well, this is coming from a police report at the time. This is not, years later. This is not 30 years later.
But that's what I'm saying. So why come forward with it now, and what are they expecting to be done about it?
I think it's probably because all these other things are hitting the news, and this person remembers this report from 1986. And how it went nowhere, and it might have been weighing on them for 30 years that they filled out this report of this famous actor raping a 16-year-old, and nothing was ever done.
And so for fear of consequences, she didn't file charges.
She said she was humiliated at the time. So here we go. The report continued that she indicated. By the way, the cops noted that she became emotionally upset numerous times, crying and sobbing. So this is the police notes. Writing that she had become visibly upset numerous times. The report continues, she indicated that if the sexual encounter had only been with Stallone, she would not pursue this matter, but due to the fact that Mike, the bodyguard, became involved in the sexual incident, she didn't know what she wanted to do. According to police, when DeLuca became involved in the sexual encounter, she became very uncomfortable with the situation. She states she did not want to have any type of sexual contact with the bodyguard, but felt she had no choice in the matter. So on her end, which is very common, the minor consents, but it doesn't matter if you're a 40-year-old man. But she said once Stallone tried to introduce this other guy to have a three-way, that's when it was no longer consensual. Now, what happens, Jonny Torres?
Right.
If all of a sudden she comes forward and tells her story.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, here we are, 30-something years later, and so is he to pay the penalty for that now? Is he to pay the price for that now, 30 years later, or is there kind of an expiration date on this kind of thing where they had plenty of time to come forward and file charges?
Well, there is by law, legally. There's
sure.
But the bombshell police report was made a year before Stallone's half-sister, Torianne Felitti, threatened him with a lawsuit in 1987, alleging that Stallone raped her and sexually assaulted her for years. Although court documents show the actor vigorously denied and continues to deny and dispute all claims of wrongdoing, he agreed to pay her a lump sum of $2 million, as well as $16,000 a month for the rest of her life.
Yeah, that's hush money for sure.
His half-sister, whose own mother claims she was a drug addict, died in 2012 after a battle with lung cancer. Stallone was one of the most recent A-listers, and then goes on from there. So there we go. Stallone's is the next one on the block.
Well, him and like I said, Al Franken, is got thrown under the bus yesterday, and that one's a little trickier because he claims that they were rehearsing to do something on stage with the USO.
Right, he wrote into the sketch that they kiss.
Right, and then he forced his tongue into her mouth when they were rehearsing the stage kiss, which if you've done stage before, stage kiss is just stage on the lips. I mean, it's just a kiss on the lips, and apparently he kind of took it a little too far. And then there's the picture that follows that, which is what's going viral, which is him basically with his hands over her chest, and she looking, I guess she's asleep. And of course, that just kind of doubles down on the impact of the story there. But needless to say, that some people are trying to discredit her because she's a radio personality out in LA, and so they're saying, oh, well, she's just doing this for her own ratings and for to build her own brand. Okay, let's say that she has held on to the story for a very long time, and this is the opportunity to share that story and gets a lot of press for yourself. Does it still discount whatever happened, No.
11 years ago?
No.
Do you think, did you see her? Did she look like somebody who was faking this for fame? No, it looks like somebody who was humiliated at the time, felt violated at the time, felt disgusted at the time, but didn't feel like she was anything she could do with it. Why? Do about it. Why? Because she was a hot news chick making her way up, and and at the time, every man along the way, except for a couple, probably.
Well, at the time, she was a veteran. She wasn't a veteran. She was serving in the military.
I thought she was covering it as a news person. Or
okay, maybe I have that.
I think she was covering the USO tour. I don't think she. I know we see her in a flak jacket in this particular picture here. But look at this picture here. This is obviously inappropriate. But it also shows. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's looking right into the camera.
Sure.
It's not somebody, sneaking, sees somebody asleep and sneaks into bed with them. But this is also part of the conversation because this kind of stuff is allowed if the guy's famous. This is exactly what Donald Trump and Billy Bush were talking about in that tape. Was, right. Hey, if you got enough money, if you're famous, you can just grab them right in the old P word there. You can just go out, you just reach out and honk their hoots.
It's that power factor. That women talk about.
Right.
And so, again, I don't know the context of the picture, but regardless of, I don't know, the picture looks terrible. I mean, it looks like she's passed out and he's,
Right, assaulting her.
Yeah.
All right. Should he step down?
What's that?
Should he go ahead and resign?
I think there's some people that are going to push for that. I think right now they're associating him with Roy Moore. They're throwing him into the same bus, and they're saying, well, if Roy Moore should step down from his campaign, then Al Franken should resign over these kind of allegations. And what we're seeing here is finally an admission that these elected officials should be held to a higher standard. Not that it's, again, this is just...
we should all be held to the standard.
Oh, yeah.
It's just unfortunate, but for those that have this kind of political power or any kind of any other power to get institutionalized, then yeah, it's going to be a harder fall because you're at the top of something. You're at the center of something. But this is a standard that...
Well, and it's very different. If he were still, let's say, Mr. SNL... then you could say, okay, well, he's an SNL guy, and he was being funny, and this was all part of an act. But he's now a sitting U.S. senator, and that really changes the dynamics a whole lot.
It's the Wake.Show with Fisher and Jonny Torres. This is we're wrapping up week number 1, day number 5. The shows that we did last week, we called test shows as we were trying to figure things out, and launched on Monday, the Wake.Show on Facebook. I went to YouTube. The Wake.Show is not we don't have the YouTube channel up yet?
We do, yeah. It's up.
Is it the Wake.Show?
Yeah, you just search for it. You can't go to youtube.com/thewake.show yet.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you got to build up your subscribers, and then you're able to get that URL. Right. But if you search the Wake.Show,
you'll find it
on YouTube. Yeah, you'll find it. We got not only all of our episodes from this week, but we also have a separate video of just the interview with muralist Cam Parker, who did the Lady Gaga mural over on Franklin Street. And so check it out and subscribe.
And please share and like. You guys have already been doing it. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Tag friends that you think might be it. Because what we're trying to put together here is kind of what you would hear on the radio. Obviously, there's a video element to it, component. But, talk about the events of the day and do it in a way that there is a courtesy, a pleasant discourse along the way. I know I only can do that for so long before I get a little animated, and that'll happen. You can't help that. But for the most part, not sit here and just find all the ugly news of the day and go, hey, this is what's wrong with America. This is what's wrong with the world. See, this is what's happening. They're coming after you and your children. We got enough of that.
Yeah,
enough of that going on. But I do have some sad news, and it is the death of an 11-month-old that has been correlated to marijuana. Now, for those of us in the marijuana, the partaking world, one of the things we've always been able to hang our hat on. And by the way, I just started partaking, in recent years for sleeping at night. It was after going through a run on Ambien that was horrible and disgusting, and I don't even know how that stuff's still on the market. And then dating a person at the time who was a partaker, and I was not. I was adamantly not. So she goes, "You want some?" And I said, "No, it just puts me to sleep." Ding. And so that's what I started. I started down that path of medical marijuana that wasn't prescribed. But one of the things the marijuana crowd has always been able to hang their hat on is there's never been there's no such thing as a marijuana overdose. Nobody's ever died because of marijuana. Well, coming out of Denver, a doctor writes, Doctors Thomas Nape and Christopher Hoyt write, as of this writing, this is the first reported pediatric death associated with cannabis exposure. The 11-month-old Colorado boy's death from a heart condition was likely related to ingestion of marijuana, but the precise link remains unclear. The boy's death was first reported in a study published last year about kids' emergency room visits following marijuana legalization. The boy was not identified in the study, arrived at the hospital unresponsive with a rapid heartbeat, and he later went into cardiac arrest and died. He had no history of health problems. The boy tested positive for THC, but at the time, the researchers on the original study said he was unsure whether this was related to the boy's death. But a different case report published this year. 2 doctors from the Rocky Mountain Poison and Drug Center reveal more information about the boy's death while drawing a more direct line between his heart condition and the THC in his system. Marijuana, as of this writing, this is the first reported pediatric death associated with cannabis exposure. Write the doctors. Marijuana, though, was not the boy's cause of death. Instead, the boy died from myocarditis, an inflammation of the heart muscle. Previous studies have linked heart problems in young people to heavy cannabis use. There have been reports in Europe of adults who have died of heart conditions after using marijuana, but researchers are still unsure exactly how marijuana could cause heart problems. In this new report, the authors never refer to the boy's death as an overdose, however. And many of the details surrounding the death are still murky. So they're probably still trying to get to the bottom of this. You have one researcher saying that they're not sure if THC is linked to this. You have another researcher saying, no, there is a link here. But this is something I like to bring up every time we talk about marijuana, because I am a proponent. I am an advocate of the decriminalization of it and for the uses of it for medicinal purposes. That being said, I'm not one of those potheads that are going to go off and start telling you about the history of pot and hemp and how the farmers did this back in 1912, and if it weren't for something that happened in 1872, and that marijuana would be saving the world. Marijuana is a drug like so many other things. It has positive benefits. It has negative benefits. All right? So for my dear friends that have been spewing your marijuana propaganda for all of my life, there are some truths into what you're saying. But one thing that people always seem to leave out when they go down that path is the downside to it. And the thing is, it tricks your brain. I don't know if it's in the category of psychotropic or whatever they call that, but it does something to your brain. Some of it's good. Some of it can cause extreme anxiety. For people that have PTSD, marijuana therapy is working for some of them. It's not going to work for all of them because it can trigger things in your brain, and next thing you know, you become very paranoid. You're anxious, you're paranoid, you have PTSD, and next thing you know, you're holed up somewhere and God knows what's happening. So if you're going to go down that path, make sure you go to a doctor. This stuff is being legalized clinically or medically around the country, and it really could help you. But just remember, it is also a drug, and there is a downside. There's a chance with every drug out there, including Tylenol. I'm going to type it in because I do this too often, and I throw out a number, and I'm not sure if that's the right number. But how many deaths are associated with acetaminophen every single year? All right, here we go. Or I can just speak it, can't I? Hold on, Siri. Hey, Siri, how many deaths are associated with acetaminophen every year?
Here's what I found on the web for how many deaths are associated with acetaminophen every year.
What the hell did you say back to me? Click on the first one there. Tylenol over staggering. All right. Not only is acetaminophen the active ingredient Tylenol the deadliest over-the-counter pain reliever on the U.S. market, but its dangers are being overlooked by members of the public. All right, between 2001 and 2010, more than 1,500 people in the U.S. died from accidental. Oh, you know what? I've been misrepresenting that number for years.
So, yeah, I was going to say, what is that, about 150 people?
Yeah, because I've been saying, I guess I read this story, back whenever, and then went on to say that the acetaminophen or Tylenol kills about 1,500 people a year, but that is not the case. Acetaminophen overdose sends as many as 78,000 Americans to the emergency room annually and results in 33,000 hospitalizations a year. This is Tylenol we're talking about.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
Acetaminophen is also the nation's leading cause of acute liver failure. Jesus. Between 2001 and 2010, more than 1,500 people in the U.S. died from accidental acetaminophen overdoses. This number, said the news outlet, citing data from is far higher than any other over-the-counter pain reliever. I'm not bringing this up to, tee off on Tylenol or anything like that. Like, hey, you want to come after my marijuana? Well, let me tell you about your Tylenol. It's just keep in mind every single one of these things are drugs that have an upside and a downside.
Yep.
That we're putting in our body.
And then, again, I think that we have prescription drugs on the market, being Florida being what it is and now dealing with the opioid crisis. I think that there are prescription drugs and even some over-the-counter drugs that are highly addictive, certainly more addictive than marijuana. And even when you look at the effects that marijuana has on the body versus even, let's say, alcohol, I think it's significantly less, and makes for an interesting debate. And I think we're kind of turning the corner on it. I'm not really an advocate for it one way or the other, but I think that we need to kind of accept the fact that there are plenty of things that the government has approved of that are just as dangerous, or if not more dangerous, than marijuana. And honestly, I think if you want to get a handle on it and you think that it's that bad of a thing, then let the government regulate it.
You a car guy at all?
A little bit.
Tesla Roadster. Elon Musk unveils the fastest production car ever in a shock announcement.
Oh, disclaimer. I'm a huge Tesla guy.
Okay.
Love Tesla. Can't wait to get one.
Capable of going 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, the Tesla Roadster would be the first such car ever to break the 2-second mark, the entrepreneur said at a launch near Los Angeles. I'll believe it when I see it. Listen.
I don't know. Have you seen the Tesla videos? Have you seen the Tesla videos with the what is it, insanity mode?
Yeah, where they have the people in the car.
And then they just change the setting. Even the current Tesla Model S, the 90, the P90, will outrun a Lamborghini on a quarter mile.
Here's the quote. This will be the first time that any production car has broken 9 seconds in the quarter mile. It hasn't happened yet.
No.
So he's making this. Listen, I want Elon Musk to be successful as well. I like some of the things that he's doing.
Sure.
But let's see it, man. Because right now, his company, if I remember correctly, can't even survive if it weren't for subsidies coming from the government.
Well,
for the stuff that he's doing, right?
Yeah, but you can make the argument that all car manufacturers get subsidies.
Okay.
But
so he's saying
nothing leads me to believe that he won't accomplish it. Only because anytime he puts up something like this, he usually over delivers.
Okay.
People thought he was ridiculous and crazy to try to get the rockets that send up these satellites and stuff into space to land back on a platform all by themselves. Here we are.
You are right, and that is amazing. I know it's only been happening for a year or two now or something.
Yeah.
But my brother Kevin is very fascinated by him, and every time they do one, he sends me the video.
Yeah.
And I have to watch it. I cannot not watch it, even though it looks the same every time, just like a rocket going backwards.
It doesn't even look real.
No, it doesn't. Maybe that's why I keep watching it, waiting to see the wires that are attached to it or the CGI, the green screen to fall behind it or something, because it doesn't look real.
But then when it crashes, you're like, see?
Exactly. So he's claiming that this Tesla Roadster, will go 0 to 60 in 1.9, breaking that 2-second mark. He said it will go 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds and clear a quarter mile in 8.9. This will be the first time that any production car has broken in 9 seconds in the quarter mile. Production of the new car, an updated version of Tesla's first production vehicle, is expected in 2020. Its top speeds were not revealed, but he hinted that it's above 250 miles per hour. The current world record for a production car is 277.9 miles per hour, held by do you know what this thing is? The Agera RS by Sweden's, it shows you I'm not a car guy. Sweden's, I could take a stab at even saying it, and I'm sure it's not even close.
Let me see.
Koen is probably corn.
Koenigs? Is it the Koenigsberg?
Koenigseggs? I don't know. The car, which will have a base price of, you want to take a stab at it, or are you looking at it now?
Well, I could see it now.
Oh, wait, never mind.
So, well, and I mean, I'll tell you what's going on here.
$200,000.
Yeah. What's going on here is Tesla has obviously now established its brand. I call it the iPhone of cars, right? Because they've now established themselves as the
cool car.
Absolutely.
The car to have.
And he has made an electric car cool, which has always been the issue. Like, I don't understand. How does BMW, of all brands, come out with an electric car that looks like garbage?
I think it's kind of cool.
I think it's ugly as hell. I think it's
I would
hideous.
not. I would drive it.
Wait, hold on.
I would drive
I'm talking about the little one.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I've been in one.
Not the i8. The big sports car version.
I drove one.
Okay.
When I was in Arkansas.
But I mean, sitting in a Tesla, driving a Tesla, I've done those things, and I mean, there's nothing like it. And like I said, I'm in a Ford Fusion right now, and I will be saving up to make my next vehicle a Tesla Model 3.
Good for you.
I mean, it's just
next year, the year after.
No, it's
you
probably,
let me drive it.
It's probably going to be like 3-4 years, of course. But it's not. And so what I like to joke about people is that I tell them it's the first nuclear powered car, or coal powered car, however you want to look at it, because people are like, oh well, is it an environmental thing? Is it about you wanting to contribute? I was like, no. Do you know how many rare minerals how much rare minerals are taken out of the earth to create the battery platform for this car? Like, there's nothing environmentally conscious about a Tesla.
There are children halfway around the world that are digging up the materials.
That's right.
That go into our batteries here.
And I'm going to make sure they keep those jobs.
Our lithium batteries.
I'm going to do my part to make sure they keep those jobs.
Ohio State University follows Florida State University's lead and suspends all fraternities due to hazing and alcohol violations. Ohio State announced Thursday it suspended all fraternity activities after 11 chapters are investigated for alleged conduct violations, most of which involve hazing and alcohol. The fraternity investigation was the largest on campus in years. Quote, the university will not tolerate behavior that puts the health and safety of its students at risk. So what's going to happen? Are they going to shut down Greek life all across? Because or there will be such pressure that Greek life, that we knew it, the Greek life from the Animal House movies.
Yeah.
that part of Greek life will be cold.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think these guys are going to rein it in. They're going to find, some normalcy or some, adequate level of, entertainment. I don't know what you want to call it, but I think, dude, I mean, what is productive about getting sloshed out there? I mean, even if you are in college, and I realize that that's somewhat of a rite of passage, but I don't.
Well, the binge drinking. There's a lot of things that go along with that part of your life. You're discovering who you are. You're testing a lot of limits and boundaries, and figuring out who you are as an adult. And you're like, wow, does binge? Well, not
I just think the binge drinking leads to other issues like this kid dying, like sexual misconduct.
Well, that's part of the reasons why you throw frat parties. You want to bring in alcohol and bring in girls and see you mix the two. It's chemistry. Mix alcohol with some females, and hopefully they don't have the same principles or in an hour or two. The university in a letter called it a provocative step so fraternities can ensure that the culture of their organization is aligned with the stated values of the school's Greek community, university conduct code, and the fraternity's national organizations.
Well, and let's not be mistaken about what this is also about, which is these universities getting sued into oblivion over another student death and losing millions of dollars. Over the fact that, nobody's really supervising this whole situation. I mean, they are supposed to be adults, but...
So you're saying this isn't all about morality and the presidents of these universities going, okay, well, enough is enough. We have to change the culture. You're saying this was forced because as these people die and as sexual assault lawsuits get applied to the university, it's the money aspect that is... force the universities to make these changes.
It's the sexual assault. Again, it's the deaths, not that there's been a lot of them, but, they're obviously very costly. And when these things happen, they want to hold somebody accountable. And like I said, first in line is the one with the deepest pockets, and that's going to be the university. And so I think it is a way to bring some... some normalcy, some balance, to college life. But I think there's also financial motivation behind this. And I mean, again, as someone who's a very casual drinker, I've never been big on the drinking and that sort of thing. I'm all for it. I don't really see how you could make a productive argument over binge drinking and the kind of parties that are typically associated with these fraternities. So
I don't know if this is part of this discussion or not, what we're getting ready to get into. And as you can see, I pulled up a post from a friend of mine on her Facebook page, Desiree. Messaged her a couple days ago. I was like, hey, do you want to come on and talk about this? And we went back and forth, and she is not very comfortable with public speaking at all and was giving her a lot of anxiety. I said, it's okay. I understand. I get it. Not everybody can just this is weird. What I do is unnatural. What you do is natural. So I say, well, can I borrow your post? And she said, of course you can. And this is from her perspective. I, in my life, have understood what life was about. However, I have been misled, misheard, and misunderstood. Something I have been thinking about lately is patriarchy and what that means and what is so offensive about it to me. As much as we are upset about being minimized as a gender, we are literally robbing our men of their human instinct. And that human instinct, I think what she's referring to here is what I was referring to a couple of days ago when we're talking about sexual harassment and assault and everything on that spectrum. And we're going to get to a story here momentarily about how Angelina Jolie was giving a speech about sex, violence, in that it's not about sex. It's about power. And so she says here we are robbing our men of their human instinct. And I think what she means is to dominate their environment, be the protector of the woman in their life, and so on. She goes on to say, which is to protect and make sure that we as women are safe. I will say that's not my natural instinct. Don't get me wrong. No. It's not that women are... I have a natural instinct to protect those who are smaller than me, those who need protecting in a particular environment. But it doesn't have to be a woman.
Sure.
It can be a kid. It could be somebody who's elderly. It can be a dude who is getting picked on or whatever and needs some help.
Right.
I have an instinct to protect the people around me, but I don't know that it's a natural instinct of a man to protect a woman. It may be. WTF? What the F is wrong with that? Nothing. It is an instinct. It is human behavior. Nothing more, nothing less. Women these days are vilifying a man's natural nature in order to be right with a certain narrative that cannot ever do what it was intended for. That is sad to me, that men are being persecuted for being men. But the thing is we have to set some boundaries in what it is to be a man. And we talk a lot about a spectrum on the show because things aren't black and white to me. It's very rarely this or that. You have to lay something, stretch it out in all directions, look at it from the inside out, the outside in, and I have a better, more complete picture of the issue at hand. Not trying to break it down and make it this or that. Because the way I see things from a quantum physics point of view, something is this and that at the same time. So you sure you weren't smoking any pot before you came into the show today, Fisher? Yes, I'm positive. But although that would be a good show, a good after show is after we do something like this.
Yeah.
What would it be? Hold on a second. Not smoke some pot. I would be taking my proper dosage of whatever,
of your medical cannabis,
of my medical. And then turning the cameras back on again and go, okay. Now that I was able to process this morning's show a little bit, I've got some different views on what we were talking about today.
But there are women out there. I have a friend who's, I think, of a similar mindset, which is that that men are being stripped of what men are supposed to be and who they are, or what they are supposed to do in society and in our culture. They want men to be men. But
that's changing. I think that's why a lot of people are angry too, is because what that meant at one point was you're the protector of this family. You're gonna build stuff, fix stuff, that's broken. You're a handyman.
Yeah.
Ding. There's people commenting on her stuff right now. That's why that popped up. Oh no, that's my stuff. Sorry. What the hell was I talking about before my ADD kicked in? I get distracted. I'm like a raccoon. You shine a shiny object in front of, shake some keys, and I'm off. I don't know what the hell is happening.
Well, Cord says about the integrating your medical dosage into the show. He goes, "That's how things go viral."
Good point. We'll have to invite Tetra Health Centers on and start that process.
Now, Elliot, who was hating on my shirt earlier, don't think I didn't see that, Elliot.
What are you wearing?
Hold on. Let me.
Oh yeah, because I don't have my monitor. I don't have my TV, so I don't see what's happening over here.
So I'm wearing a vintage Reagan Bush '84 T-shirt.
How do I turn on this TV?
Oh, it's not on. Oh man, I'm sorry. I thought you. No, that you got to hit the button underneath the front of the thing there. But Elliot says, if a woman wants to be a subservient housewife with an alpha male, that's her right, and best of luck to her. But don't act like that's not just a social construct. Natural.
Damn.
What happened? No, it's not you. Weird. My camera's cutting out.
Oh, I wonder if it's because it was drawing a feed off of the TV and so it just kind of threw a glitch into your system.
Oh, a little power surge. Okay. You got the TV on there?
Yes. I was talking. We were talking about a man's role these days. I'm like, I think. It's nice to have somebody in the house that can fix stuff when it's broken and maybe even build some basic things when needed.
Good thing your wife's around.
You think you're making a joke.
Dude, I'm the same way.
Your joke is funny because it's true.
And it's true for me, too. I'm not a handy person.
She fixed the washer the other day. And it was a task she gave to me. She goes, hey, can you figure out... So here's the thing. One of the things that have annoyed me is, moving into this new house, getting into this new house. Oh, there's your shirt. Your Reagan Bush. Your Reagan Bush. Back in the good old days, right?
Yeah.
When America was America. So one of the things that bothered me is it seems like there was a lot of corners cut in like so many different aspects of this the buying process, and or no, the flipping of this house. And you don't realize it until you get in there. One of these things, so we pull out because the inspector goes through, turns on the dishwasher. Well, the dishwasher's working fine, check. But he didn't just, the top rack of this thing, the back piece that holds it all on was like there was a piece missing or broken or something like that. So you got to pull it out and the tray just falls off, right? You know, that top rack in your dishwasher?
Right.
So there's something from my honey-do list. Figure out what that is and fix it. Well, what the hell am I going to do? I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. Well, so next thing you know, her mom looks in there, looks some stuff up online, orders a part. It comes in the mail, and my wife fixes the thing. That sucks. Yeah, I don't think I need to describe. I don't think I need to go into why that sucks, but that sucks.
Yeah, that's a shot to the ego for sure.
But not only that, but it's also one of the things she put on the honey-do list for me to do, and then when she turns around and does it, just makes you feel like crap, But we were talking about a man's role and how things are changing. You could, if you're going for an old school man who is rugged and that'll fight for you no matter how crazy you are in an effing moment, because I think that's part of this too.
Yeah.
And all that stuff that you thought, there's supposed to be a prince and show all that stuff. Good, go look. There's still that guy's out there somewhere.
Those guys are still out there, but I mean, I also got to give props to, like a friend of mine. I got a friend of mine, Ricardo, who lives out in Lakeland, and his wife, I don't even know what she does. She's in the medical field, makes a lot of money, and so actually, now that I think about it, I got two friends like this, and so both of them are stay-at-home dads, and so like instinctively, we want to fight against that, right? We're like, wait a second, that's not right. But at the same time, it's
I don't want to fight against that.
No, I mean, hell, if I could stay home with my daughter all day, I probably would.
I think you were talking about how we're planning on starting a family next year.
Yeah,
and she's a lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm whatever this is. Also, because of my schedule, I've got gigs at night and on the weekends, so it might turn out where we don't have to, if things play out a certain way, that we might not have to have, daycare.
Right.
That's $400.
Daycare's expensive.
That's $400, $500, right? That's $400.
Buddy. Try $800. $800 right out of the gate. $800 a month. That is a car payment. That is a rent payment.
$800 a month is what you're saying.
$800 a month, $200 a week.
Oh, $200 a week. Okay, so somewhere between $200.
And that's on the cheaper side.
Right, that is on the cheaper side because I know I have friends of mine that are paying $400, over $400 a month.
That's insane.
A week. Yeah, but they're also rich, and I'm sure they're getting all kinds of special things at the daycare.
The nanny cams.
Yeah, you get to keep an eye on your kids with those $200 a month. No, you don't get any cameras in here. No. You're not watching what's going on behind closed doors
here.
You
just get to cross your fingers and just hope everything turns out okay.
But the point was, in the discussion was, is a rugged old school typical man the guy you want now, or is it somebody who is in the technology sector who is constantly keeping up with changing iPhones, computers, apps, social media, and is constantly keeping you on the edge? So you are never being you don't you're not concerned about malware and that kind of stuff because So my point is, being a man. Well, first of all, it's relative.
Well, and that's
bullshit.
Right.
I know you don't like but this is a good time for me to say it's just bullshit.
There's all kinds of shades to that, right? I mean, because like you just said, I mean, you got your rugged guy who can fix anything, build anything, and really is kind of your all around guy, loves working on his car or motorcycle or whatever it is.
So when she yells when you come home and she goes, "I don't like this wall anymore,"
yeah,
you know that you can go knock the wall down,
sure,
and put up whatever it is she wants.
And then you got the guy, which is more like myself, like I'm into the gadgets and the technology. And I make sure that that kind of stuff around the house is working okay, and I make sure that you have the latest iPhone or iPad or laptop, and so that that's typically what I did. Like my ex, like I got her first DVD player, I got her first iPhone, I got her a brand new laptop. Like that was just my thing. Like making sure that she had, because she's a teacher, making sure that she couldn't afford those things, and so it was to make sure that she had those things available to her, and I think that has that's its own role as well.
And I'm back in frame. I think my buddy Anthony, who my wife wants me to go talk to.
Okay.
Because he has been working in the cellular industry for years now and has worked his way up. And it runs his own store, for T-Mobile.
Yep.
And he is somebody who is on the cusp or the cutting edge of all technologies. They just bought a new house themselves. You walk in there, and all of a sudden, he's got this little smirk in his face, and he goes, "Siri, dinner mode," or something like that. Next thing you know, all the lights in the house change, and some come on, some go off, and start to dim, and all this kind of stuff. So I'm wondering if that's a man's these days, if somebody who's not going to fight for your crazy ass every time your mouth. Sorry.
Well, it's changed,
sounds like
though,
I'm talking
right?
to somebody specifically.
It's changed, though. Like a man back in the day, like there wasn't a lot of room there. There wasn't a lot of wiggle room. Like you were a cowboy or a farmer, or or maybe you robbed banks. Like there was just like there was a very, or even in more recent times, you had your factory job. You were either blue collar guy or a white collar guy, right? Like that was it,
right?
And
now you can be anything.
Sure.
And that's the times that we live in. I know there's still plenty of people who are not in that place, and that you're grinding it out. You have your main job. You've got a second and third income coming in because you're trying to get your kids out of the house and get them into school. But the fact is, for a lot of other people that didn't start families traditionally, that people have the means to do anything. A friend of mine that we'll have on the show here in the next soon is traveling. He got rid of everything. At my age, he's in his 40s, got rid of everything, tricked out a van, and he grabbed his dog, some video equipment, some recording equipment, and he just took off. He's just going to see the country and blog about it at the time and share his experiences. And he's hooked up with a charity. He's doing charity work everywhere he goes. Well, that's not traditional.
Yep.
So if all of a sudden he meets a woman, and which Johnny, it'll happen. Not you, Johnny. The Johnny I'm talking about, not Jonny Torres. Johnny Griffin.
Well, thanks, Fisher.
There's Jonny Torres and Johnny Griffin. This is Griffin that I'm talking about here. But all of a sudden, if you meet somebody that's a little bit more traditional, she's like, "Oh, we click, we met da. Well, let's settle down. You go get a job. I'll have the kids." That's not going to work for him. It's not going to happen.
Right.
And that is happening more and more and more. And I think people like Desiree here, when we started the her Facebook post earlier. I think some women are feeling that effect as well. Like, hey, no, wait. I like that I have an alpha male. I like that he takes charge in this area, and this area. We also all know that I don't care if you have an alpha male in the house or not. We all know that you might take charge. We might take charge in a few areas of our life, but once you get married, that alpha stuff comes. She becomes the alpha,
sure.
And you better start following her lead, or you're gonna end up very depressed very quickly.
Well, and again, for me, if our Wi-Fi, our router, our cable, our iPad, laptop, something wasn't working, I'd take care of it. If there was a plumbing issue, if there was
you call somebody.
That's right.
Plumbing and electrical.
You're damn right. Does the car need maintenance? Great. I'll make the appointment and I'll drop it off at the dealership.
I'll wash your car, honey. I don't even know how to wash a car properly. I would literally have to YouTube, because all I would know is, like, from my childhood, do I just put a little bit of Dawn?
Yeah.
I bet you if you look it up, they're like, no, that's the worst thing you can do for your car. You need to go buy this kind of soap or whatever it is.
Right. The automotive soap.
Yes. So as far as being a man, maybe you're asking yourself, well, Fish, where do you fall in? What category do you fall in as a man? Then what do you bring to the table? Are you the person that can fix stuff? And no, that's not me. Are you the technology guy? Do you bring all the gadget stuff to the table? It's not me.
Yeah.
So Fisher, what kind of man are you? We will be exploring that question day in and day out, 5 days a week on the Wake.Show, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy that brought. I was the sensitive. I guess I'm the sensitive guy. I'm somebody who actually listens to women and gets into and has empathy for whatever it is they're sharing with me. So what you're saying, Fish, is the category of man that you're in is you're in the category of woman. Yes, I've always joked that I'm half a woman when it comes to stuff like that. But why? But I have to joke because I'm not. I'm a man. I'll pull out my penis if you want, but I think we get kicked off the internet. I'm a man. But throughout my life, I've never felt like a man.
Sure, right.
Because a man is supposed to be much more rugged and cowboy-y, and will fight some dude after his woman. Hold on a second. Your woman runs her mouth. It gets some other people involved.
Yeah.
And you can see from your perspective. By the way, when I'm doing this, I'm doing over a baby head.
Hold on. Let's get the wide shot in that. There you go.
So you know how part of being a man is that your woman runs her mouth. You know she's wrong. It drags other people in, and a conflict is getting ready to ensue. Yeah. And you're expected to handle that conflict just because that's your girl. And that's what you're supposed to do. Now, afterwards, after this guy beats you up, then you can go, when you go home, you can have that discussion or argument or fight over it was her fault that this whole thing happened. But in that moment, you're supposed to beat the snot out of the guy that she's provoked.
Sure.
Not that that's ever happened to me in my life or anything.
No, you're not speaking from experience at all.
Okay, because I didn't get in a fight. I said, no, we're going.
Hey, so Desiree is chiming in the comment section.
We're not getting into a fight, and we're certainly not doing it here at Busch Gardens.
That's getting awfully specific there.
This was not a real story. This is just something I'm making up as I'm going on.
But my dad was totally like the man's man, right? Like he did his own oil changes and tire rotations, and he would cut the grass every couple weeks and clean the gutters, install the gutters. Like my dad loves working on his house. And I just didn't get that. I didn't get that gene at all. I mean, I learned how to do that stuff, and I'm okay at it. But I would much rather
hire somebody.
Yeah, I would much rather pay some dude $80 a month to come and cut my lawn than for me to have to go out there and spend 3 hours of my day.
It is not. What the hell? You got 4 acres? Only 3 hours of your day.
Well, once you get into the edging and the trimming and
I guess you're right. Once you're all said and done, it's a half-day job.
Not to mention all the sprinklers that get broken in the process. Then you got to fix. Oh man, do I hate replacing sprinklers? I'm so glad I live in an apartment now.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting a sprinkler system, and then somebody, because it happened to us, and I remember how angry my father got.
Yep.
How people would park on the lawn, as they're parking in the street, they come up just a hair, you bring the tires. Well, that's a lot of times where people run their water.
Well, that's the downside of the lawn maintenance company too, is that those guys come on in their riding mowers and they're hauling butt because they're trying to get in as many cuts as they can. And inevitably they'll knock one out a month or something like that, and then it's such a pain. Whoever can invent a system to protect your sprinklers from cars or lawnmowers, I think is going to be a very wealthy individual.
I got it. It'll look very similar to the sprinkler head itself. The sprinkler head pops up, boop. Right. Well, it senses when somebody's getting close, and right next to the sprinkler head, this other thing pops up that has a gun in it and a laser. And so the laser fixes on whatever it is that's getting ready, and then just starts shooting.
Yeah.
And hopefully that takes care of the problem. Solve it. So let me finish up the Facebook post here.
Well, Desiree wrote in the comments, so I don't know if you want to.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Desiree says, my husband is both a rugged, I'm assuming she meant both a rugged man and can build anything, including computers, and is very advanced technology. Wasn't trying to say that there should only be one kind of man, just that these types of men are being extinguished. It's not okay. My point is there's a place for every type of man.
What do you mean by this? This is why I wanted to have Desiree on, and I understand why she didn't want to. Yeah. Not everybody can come on and feel comfortable having a conversation on camera or on the radio. I get that.
She's saying that as a society, we are shaming men for following their natural instincts.
Be more specific there, because nobody is shaming a man for being able to fix stuff and, for showing up to change your tire in the rain.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is but this is why I wanted to bring it up, because I think what she's talking about is there is something that goes along with being a man, and that is dominating your environment, being the alpha. Right. Well, not everybody. It's like what people are saying is that every man is supposed to be born an alpha. Females are supposed to be born omegas or betas or whatever the hell that is, or whatever, and it's a natural order for the woman to follow the man. That's not true.
No.
Alphas can be males or females. That's but that's the thing, and I think that's what Elliott's point was, is that religion did a great job of that patriarchal thing. You put a god there at the top of the pyramid, make the god male. God has a penis. He's a man, and then what? That's such a ridiculous notion to give a gender to what is the ultimate sentient being in the universe that created everything. Well, it's got a penis, of course. And so it's only natural. So I understand Elliot's point there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Desiree is saying too, that it's natural for a man to walk in. No, it's natural for her, man. He is an alpha cowboy. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's him. That's his thing.
Yeah.
But where that part of being a man is crossing has been crossing lines forever, is it's one thing for him to aggressively go out there and perform for his family to bring home income, to have that fiduciary responsibility at the front of his forehead every single day when he walks out that door, and he dominates his environment. But what comes along with that, if we're not careful, is that gets turned into sexual harassment. That dominance gets turned to everything in the environment. You just don't turn it on and turn it off.
Right.
Mansplaining.
Right.
And as you're doing certain things, you dominate this environment, and that environment might be a female, a subordinate, somebody who's under you. And that's where we're saying, hey, we appreciate the authoritarian alpha male that has served its purpose and still does. But if that dominating environment, crosses over into some certain areas, that's when we're shutting that down now. It's no longer going to be acceptable to coerce people, sexually coerce people, because you're the dominant alpha male that is running the company or running the family or whatever it is, and you get to do whatever you want. It looks like those days are coming to an end. I could be wrong. This could be a phase we go through. Next thing you know, all these stories go away and we're back to the way it was. But it feels different. It feels different.
Yeah, I think we're turning a corner, or at the very least, we're at a milestone.
So let's wrap up our email and get to some entertainment. I know Roy went to see Justice League, and I cannot wait to get his assessment of it. But let's wrap up her Facebook post. And thank you, Desiree, for letting me take some of the stuff that was in your life and use it on this show here. Let's see. Women these days are vilifying a man's nature in order to be right with a certain narrative that cannot ever do what it is intended for. That is sad to me, that many men are being persecuted for being men. I was raised on Gloria too. I'm assuming she means Gloria Steinem here, meaning she's a feminist. I, however, choose to give my man more credit than what people give him credit for. It's nonsense. They did not ask for this job, but they have it gladly and successfully. F all the man haters. They can suck it. I couldn't be more real here. Our men are being extinguished. So, again, I think that I'm not sure. That's why I wanted to get details. Like, what do you mean exactly? What do you mean? How are men not allowed to be men anymore?
Yeah.
Because a man can still be a man. It's just that we're gonna. Part of being a man was taking whatever the F you want whenever you wanted, okay? Part of being a man, I'm a man. I do what I want whenever the F I want. That's changing.
Yeah.
You don't get to, I don't care how successful you are, how much money you have. If you have a radio show, a television show, you're the head of an institution, you've got some power somewhere. It's changing. Everything is changing. And for the good, for the good as far as I'm concerned. All right, let's. I don't even know if we're going to get to everything today. Technically we can go as long as we want, but I know that you've got real work. True. You've got real work to do after we turn the camera off.
It's Friday. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome in Roy now from Bake More Pies, and he is our resident movie guru. We had Roy in last week, introduced himself. We got to snuggle in with me here a little bit. Come in nice and. There you go. Beautiful. And we'll be having Roy in every single week. He is a movie buff. He was actually born in a movie. He's not real. He's CGI. Roy, how you doing this morning?
Very good.
You're awake?
Very, very tired, it seemed.
It is. We had a great Bake More Music, if anybody missed out on that. Rojoma was the band. And then straight after that, I went to the movie theater.
Oh, so you had a nice.
So I got a really late showing.
Yeah, he booked it last night after Bake More Music.
I usually linger around for like an hour or so after, but last night I wanted to get you guys a review so that anybody who wanted to watch knew what they were going into this weekend.
And also thank you so much to Jonny Torres for hosting the Bake More Music event last night. I called him late, like 5. and was
5
like,
minutes
listen,
before?
nah, 5 o'clock, like a couple hours beforehand. I was like, listen, are you going to the thing tonight? Because I know that he had some plans, and he's like, no, those plans are not. Yes, I'm going.
Well,
could you cover for me?
No, and I was kind of taking it easy. I had to go pick up my daughter from daycare and get her fed and all that stuff because I'm like, I don't have to worry about being on the air, so I don't have to be back at the studio until showtime. And I was way on the other side of the county when you called me, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be interesting.
Well, if you said I couldn't make it, I would have made it there. It was one of those things where it was just it was just a lot going on, and I hadn't seen the last time I'd seen my wife this week was Monday night, and we were fighting on her birthday at the end, at the end of the night there. And it was just a long ass week. And I'm like, man, it would be really nice if I didn't have to go back to Tampa, can handle some stuff at home, and hopefully get a good night's sleep. So thank you so much, Jonny Torres. And track that down through Bake More Pies.
Yeah, Facebook.com/Bake More Pies. If anybody wants to watch it. It was a great performance. If you're into like Dave Matthews, maybe some jam band stuff like Fish, check them out, man. And, they did a great job. A really bunch of humble, nice guys. And we also gave away some tickets to the Gasparilla Music Festival, and we'll have those for every Bake More Music up until March 10th and 11th, when the Gasparilla Music Festival actually takes place at Curtis Hickson Park in downtown Tampa.
All right, we turn now to the Justice League. Over the weekend, I typed in Justice League just now, did a search, clicked on the first review, and it's not a good one. It says, who will avenge these shortchanged heroes? Roy? I know you had already gone in with a preconceived. You were prepared not to like this going in.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened?
Okay.
So the expectations were low, which I think is important.
It was good. My expectations were low.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I will do my reviews in facial expressions. You guys ready for this?
Bring it in tight.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
So beginning of the movie, I was like this. Middle, I was like, yeah. There were some parts that I was like, whoa. Right? By the end, I was like, yeah, it's okay. It's actually, so the shorthand of it's
perfect.
better.
By the way, this has got to be what we ISO today. We got to pull out this part, and then every time he goes into a facial expression, zoom in on it, make it big.
Yeah.
Like those kung fu zoom ins. It's better than Batman versus Superman. That's for sure.
Okay.
It's not as good as Wonder Woman. I didn't like the story. I wasn't sold on the whole movie, but there was just enough awesome scenes like in the middle to make me go, I might not have wasted my money.
Okay. So if you're a fan of this genre, you're going to have moments where you're like, yeah, that was cool. That was awesome. We've been all fuzzy.
I know.
Yeah, we're clear again. Oh, maybe I wonder if I put down the computer here, if that helps out anything, if it's trying to zoom in on that.
Look, you guys are going to watch it anyway. Like any fan of these properties, like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, you're going to watch it. It's not as disappointing as Batman versus Superman.
What if I go in because I already know it's not going to be that good, but I grew up in the Super Friends like everybody else did.
You're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it regardless, just because, and you're going to watch it
just for the nostalgia and
just for the ability to say that you got to watch a live action movie with the Super Friends.
Okay. Is there any
Super Friends?
That's where I was going. Is there a cameo? Is there a moment where there's a nod to that? Is there a moment in the movie where there's a nod to that?
No. No. I was hoping they'd mention Super and Friends in the same sentence.
Yeah, like a little nod to it.
Do they not own the rights to Super
Deep from
Friends?
the hole of justice, the Super Friends are saving the day.
Yeah, if I'm writing this movie, even if I'm not going to use that as the transition, that's not going to be a main feature in the movie. Man, I'm putting in the background something where that guy is promoing.
Yeah, pull it up.
Yeah, what?
Pull up a little. I'm sure there's this little Super Friends clip.
I see what you're saying. Let's see.
But I think DC is kind of doing things backwards.
Okay.
Because they're trying to compete with Marvel, and Marvel already did the Avengers, but not the Avengers. Sorry, yeah, the Avengers, where the team gets together. But Marvel had years of building up single storylines that adds up to a team movie. So you didn't have background backstories that you had to tell. You already saw that from the movies. DC, on the other hand, is doing the main team first, and then doing a Wonder Woman after, and next is coming out Batman.
Oh, you found it.
So it's kind of just, it's backwards weird. I think they're in a rush.
The Justice League.
Hold on, Ray.
There are assembled the world's 4 greatest heroes, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Superman.
So, was this the Aquaman that we've been seeing, or was there already an Aquaman movie?
Nah, there never has been an Aquaman movie, but Aquaman actually was my favorite character in this whole.
Aquaman!
You do a better voice guy than he does.
Mine's more of a Don Pardo.
Those 3 junior super friends.
Wait.
Wendy,
Oh, I thought that was Scooby-Doo.
and Wonder Dog.
Wonder Dog.
That is awesome.
Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
I forgot that they had a Scooby-Doo knockoff in there.
Love that.
Like, how did they get a part of that?
Yeah, no kidding.
Mine's more of a Don Pardo. So, and for those of you not as geeky about voiceovers and announcers as I am, Don Pardo was the longtime voice of Saturday Night Live.
Now, you were saying that you think they're going in the wrong direction.
I think they've been going in the wrong direction.
All right, what should they be doing with this franchise or their stuff?
They should start over, is what they should do.
Yeah.
But where do you think it went wrong? Was it Superman versus Batman? Was it Henry Cavill? Was it?
It was Zack Snyder. I've never been a Zack Snyder fan.
Okay.
A lot of people like 300. 300 might have been his most famous and best.
Was he the king?
That's a badass
Or no,
movie.
is that the director?
The director.
Okay.
And then he did Watchmen, which was You
like
Watchmen?
I thought it was cool looking.
Okay.
Not a very memorable movie, but I thought it was a cool.
Look, I'm not the authority.
It was cool looking.
So I'm not I'm not saying like my opinion is gospel.
But you're the movie. You're this is your world.
Yeah,
To me, Watchmen was almost like the modern day Dick Tracy, right? So like when Dick Tracy came out with Warren Beatty and Madonna and all that, like I thought visually it was stunning. The story was kind of forgettable and it was okay.
See, not to me. I thought it was a great, because there's an old adage, after 9/11, we all came together, right? Everybody came together. You noticed the American flag outside of the 7-Eleven for the first time. You nodded to the guy inside the store that you normally wouldn't nod to because you felt like, and so that was kind of the premise of this, is that humanity was reaching a point where it needed a calamity, and so the villain in this was said, "Oh, I'm going to bring on a nuclear war." And I know it seems psychopathic, but we got population issues going on, and it'll bring humanity together. After you wipe out a billion or two, and so it was that dilemma. So this of course the bad guy doesn't think he's a bad guy.
Right.
Think he's doing something. Right. You think he's doing something for good for humanity. And then I also loved that the Blue Man, the Watchman.
Yeah.
Who was he? Did he have a name?
No, I don't know.
I didn't follow.
Doctor. What? I can't.
But
Yeah,
in
it
the
was
comics,
Dr. something.
he had his. He was completely naked. So
Well, there's that. Yeah, there was also his huge penis sitting there swaying on your movie screen. Well, yeah, it wasn't even a regular. I mean, I guess if you're going to become a god or whatever the heck category he was in at that point, you're not going to have an average man's penis. But I also thought it was cool what his, because at one point he's just hanging out like on Mars or Pluto or something, just sitting there chilling, contemplating the universe. And I don't know. I liked the movie from beginning to end. I've seen it multiple times. Rorschach, that character.
That was my favorite part of it.
That was a cool character in it as well. But we didn't need to get off on Watchmen and all of this. You were saying this wasn't Watchmen, or
well, Johnny was talking about where to go wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was just the decisions of Zack Snyder, the director, because once they started with the actual team stories from Batman versus Superman, they already brought the team together. There's hardly any wiggle room for another director to go off and create his own vision for
the storylines,
the individual stories.
Explain it to a layman like me who's not in the
Dr. Manhattan. Elliot says that's
thank you, Dr. Manhattan. Explain to me these two worlds, the difference between these two worlds, and how they're being portrayed on the screen: the DC world and the Marvel Comics world. The different paths that the franchises have chosen to take with these two things.
Well, Marvel started out with the Incredible Hulk. They started Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, Thor. So you got to see the origin stories.
There's like four right? Incredible Hulks.
When you understood their storyline, their backstory, and where they fit into this cinematic world, then they started bringing in teams. They started doing crossovers, right? What DC started doing was, from the success of Man of Steel, they go, hey, let's bring in Batman. Let's bring in Wonder Woman. Let's bring in Lex Luthor. Let's bring in Aquaman. And then it's almost like bringing the team right off the bat. And then they go, well, now after the team's assembled, let's do Wonder Woman's backstory. Let's talk about Batman's backstory, which we already have Christopher Nolan's Batman.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't think you can get better than that.
Well, Elliot says he hasn't seen any DC since Nolan.
Good for you. Good for you.
Says from what I've heard,
I wish I was in that position.
So the Batman versus Superman sucked?
I didn't like it at all. Wonder Woman was great, though.
The whole Batfleck thing, like I've said before, kept me away, I think, from that whole movie. I still haven't seen it.
So here's the weird thing about DC. DC is actually going to start making movies that aren't a part of the DC cinematic universe. So the next series of movies is going to be Batman, directed by Matt Reeves. Now, Batman, the new one, is not going to be Ben Affleck, right?
Good. Okay.
It's going to be somebody else. I don't know if they cast it at all. There was also rumors of Martin Scorsese directing a Joker movie.
That'd probably be amazing.
I think he was talking to Leonardo DiCaprio, but I don't know if that's been shelved or if that's still in consideration for a green light.
See, and I've always seen DiCaprio as a young Nicholson. I mean, which makes perfect sense to me. I mean, again, if you kind of follow the timeline, you know, that then he would eventually become the Michael Keaton Joker, you know, or the Nicholson Joker.
So what Marvel is doing is they're also even expanding their universe from the movies to the TV shows. So their TV shows actually are in that same universe. Mm-hmm. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had some part in Thor, Dark World, the Netflix series, which The Punisher just came out. So if you got time, you can binge it this weekend. Dude, I probably will be doing that.
I can never remember his name because he's always going to be Shane to me.
John Bernthal.
Bernthal. Yeah. So, but I mean, he is amazing as the Punisher.
Oh man, he's great. So
I never saw the movie, even though a lot of it was shot here in the Bay Area.
But have you?
Wrong one.
No, so
that was Thomas Jane as the Punisher.
Oh
no, but you remember Shane from The Walking Dead?
Yes.
Right. So Shane from The Walking
Dead. I hated Shane.
But he's a phenomenal actor. Okay. Which, you know, I mean,
well, good God, I hated Shane. I didn't hate the actor. I hated the character. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which is a testament how great an actor he is. And he plays the Punisher on
this new
Netflix.
Series? Okay.
It's already had it's already had a season, right? Or no? Or
no. He was in Daredevil season 2.
Oh, he was in Daredevil. Yeah.
And so the Netflix Marvel franchise over there is still they allude to things that happen in the movies. DC has a different Flash for the TV show, has a different Flash for the movies, has now they're going to do a different Batman than Ben Affleck or Christian Bale. It's kind of it's just confusing and weird,
disjointed.
But like I think what they're thinking is that it works in the comic book world because every comic book artist can have a different Batman, different look, different feel, different storyline for Batman. So I think they're going, well, if we do this cinematically in movies, I think people will kind of, warm up to it and
because there's going to be something for everyone.
Yeah.
Like you don't only get Nolan's Batman, you now get Batfleck and you got the Michael Keaton version. And
well, I'm just as confused now as we was 5 minutes ago when I first asked the question. Roy, thank you so much for stopping in.
You're welcome.
For the review this week, what are you going to see next week? What are we reviewing next week? Or you don't know yet?
What is coming out next week?
Oh, by the way, I did want to publicly thank you, because I did mention it here in the office, but I wanted to thank you for Murder on the Orient Express. I mean, I think your review was pretty spot on, even for someone who hadn't seen a previous version of the movie.
For you.
Yeah, I hadn't seen a previous version of the movie. I thought it was a great movie. I liked it, and the cast was unbelievable. I couldn't believe how many A-listers were on there. But to me, the movie fell a little short on the end. It didn't really quite close it for me. But still, I mean, it was a great movie.
Roy, thank you so much for us. Are you still looking up what's coming out next week?
What is next week? Well,
it's Thanksgiving week, so that might be...
should be some big movies coming out.
Shape of the Water, I think, would be a good one.
Shape of the Water?
It's a Guillermo del Toro one.
Huh. Okay.
And it's supposed to be really good.
All right, we'll talk to you about that then. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. Actually, not next week, because next week is Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
We're still talking about what we're going to do for next week.
Hell yeah. We can talk about that right now. It's the Wake.Show. Thank you so much for sharing and liking and tagging friends along the way. It is growing every single day, and we really appreciate that. So, yeah, I guess as far as next week goes, do you want to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or we want to take the week off? We just started the show. We can't take the week off.
I know. I would feel horrible taking the week off.
Yeah, I don't think we can.
So, but I think what we talked about, which I think would be kind of interesting, would be to do the show remotely, right? So, like, where
are you going to even be in town?
So I'm going to be in town Monday. I'm still trying to figure it out. And, obviously I need to talk to those who run the joint and see. I was hoping to be in Miami all week, but some things have come up that now I need to come back for. And so I may come back Monday, Tuesday, and then, and then maybe head back down there for the rest of the week.
All right, so we'll figure that out then.
Yeah.
If it ends up being Monday, Tuesday, it's Monday, Tuesday. Then we can repackage some stuff and push that out, Wednesday. And it really doesn't matter. I mean, because Thursday, other people are going to be, everybody's going to be preoccupied come Thursday and Friday. I'm doing Black Friday for the first time, I think.
We can do a play-by-play of the Thanksgiving Day parade. Just crap on it.
Yeah, or maybe that's what I'll do is I'll just take our devices out and somewhere, some mall here in town, just set it up and just Facebook Live from wherever the hell
from Black Friday.
And just from Black Friday and bring people in
from shopping mall hell.
Yeah, chatting it up. Now, just because we do have a new house and we want to fill that bad boy up and we're broke. And we need to get some furniture and all kinds.
Double down on it.
Well, so I think that I'm going to be part of whatever diabolical plan that my wife has next Friday. Although that might have changed because I know that she found the washer and dryer that we want.
Oh, that's right. You guys were going to do that for Black Friday.
Right. Waiting on that one. So, you remember I told you I was going to do laundry yesterday? It didn't happen.
No.
It's in my car today, however, so that I don't make it home first to make it. I'm going to drive right to the laundromat in South St. Pete.
Oh, so this will be your hopefully your last time at the laundromat?
Yes, because I believe we're getting our stuff in like Monday. And you're like, well, Fish, come on, man.
Oh, that's right. They haven't come in yet.
No, you're like, it's a couple more days. Just wait. You don't need. No, this shirt I'm wearing is a shirt that I've not worn in 10 years. And although it looks like it fits, it only fits if I don't move too much. If I start to, all right, come back to this.
There we go.
Like a little bit of movement in these buttons.
You got a little room in there.
As a matter of fact, this morning when I was walking out the door and I was grabbing, I bent down to grab some stuff. A button flew open here.
Nice.
So this shirt barely fits me and has been hanging in a closet for 10 years, which means I have zero clothes, and I've done no laundry since we moved like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
These pants have been recycled a couple of times now. I am down to my last pair of underwear. That's an important part of the.
Oh yeah, that's when there's no going back. Like you have to make it to the laundromat.
See, that's I can wear a shirt 2 or 3 times, pants a few times, but once the underwear runs out, then it basically forces me into the laundromat. So
that's a 5-alarm situation there.
So I'm going to experience this. Whatever laundromat I'm going to in South St. Pete today will be the first time experiencing that. And I'm very I can't wait. Looking forward to it. Spending some time there. All right, we didn't get to everything today that we wanted to talk about.
No.
The Ohio State. We can run through real quick some of these things. That sex robot showroom exposed. Whoa! Wait,
hey.
by the way, that was blurred. It was blurred.
It was.
I mean, it was blurred.
Okay, it didn't look like it.
Okay,
and of course I had it up on the.
it was blurred. I mean, I don't want to get us flagged for anything, but this is real.
I think you caught it. You're good.
I want to show you more now, but I don't want to get us flagged and get us kicked off our first week if it's too inappropriate.
Yeah.
But because all the pictures that they have on the story,
are they the robots?
They're all robots, and they either have it blurred out in the areola area or the black bar across.
Yeah.
But as you saw there, they didn't blur it out a lot. So can I scroll or should I not?
I wouldn't chance it.
Okay, so I won't. I'm not going to then. We'll leave it there. And anyway, there's a place where the first sex doll showroom is opened. Pics have emerged from inside the shop, offering hunters a chance to test their quality. So what it sounds like to me is this sex robot showroom where you can go. Sounds more like a brothel than anything else.
Yeah.
I think it's
well, Cords says he thinks that this type of research is what caused your computer virus last week.
I do,
or this week.
I can assure you that's not how it happened. I can assure you.
And then David says you need to come by Al Capote's for your laundry. If you got any.
Is it right around here? Al
it's on
Capote?
Kennedy.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you or somebody else brought that up recently, right?
Yeah. Well, he watches the show every day, man. David's been tuning in every day.
All right, I'll go to Al Capote's then. If it's like right here.
Yeah.
But we'll see because I have a couple of appointments. We'll have to figure that out. But thank you, Al, for that. Let's see. David Capote, not Al Capote.
Al's his brother. Yeah, Al's the brother, and they named So I talked to him about this. So his name is David. But they named the dry cleaner Al Capote's because, again, it sounds a lot like Al Capone, and it's easy to remember.
All right. Something that we had on the slate for today was Angelina Jolie was delivered the keynote speech at a UN peacekeeping summit on Wednesday. She was talking about sex violence and how it has nothing to do with sex. It has everything to do with power and control. Quote, we have to ask, how is it after all these years, all these laws, all these resolutions, and all the horrors endured, women still have to ask for the most basic of entitlements, the right to life free of violence. The UN appointed her in a special. So she went on to talk more about that. Sexual violence is everywhere as that discussion continues, not just in America, but around the world.
Yeah.
Another thing that we were going to delve into, the Keystone Pipeline leaks 210,000 gallons of oil. And the crew shut down the pipeline Thursday morning, and officials are investigating the cause of the leak, which occurred about 3 miles southeast of the town Amherst. This is the largest Keystone oil spill to date in South Dakota. The leak comes just days before Nebraska officials announced a decision on whether the proposed Keystone XL pipeline can move forward there.
Well, they're not wanting to say. I'm thinking that got messed with. I think you got these environmentalists out there that will intentionally.
Eco-terrorists.
Yeah, they'll intentionally go and do that to basically stop it in its tracks or for them to get rid of it. I don't know.
Is that just what's like? Because I don't see anything about that in the story.
No. That's just my speculation on that.
Based on what?
It just seems like the sort of thing that they would do. I mean,
yeah, but this is also the sort of thing that everybody was concerned about because these things have a history of not staying sealed.
Yeah, but they're not disclosing what the cause was.
All right, but you think when it comes down to it, we're going to find out it was eco-terrorists that spilled 5,000 barrels of oil. That's how this can play out. All right, you made your prediction.
We'll see.
My prediction is these stories will go away because there's too much money involved, and it was some kind of a leak or a break. They'll patch it up. They'll pretend to pay whatever fine they're supposed to pay, and they'll move on to something else. Boston University professor under fire for leaving a Yelp review, calling a restaurant employee fat. I don't know why this stuff bothers. Fat shaming bothers me quite a bit, and or a lot, and it has nothing to do.
No, but I don't even know why this is a story. Is my thing. I don't get why this even made why somebody even took the time to write this up.
Because a lot of other things that are happening in the world right now, one of the things that people are sick and tired of are you effing shaming me for everything. F you. Worry about the own sawdust in your eye, the plank that's in your eye, not the sawdust that's in mine. And for some reason, when it comes to fat shaming, it is acceptable right now in America. Why? Because of us in the media. Us in the media control that.
I'm not saying it's right. I mean, again, hell, I've been a big guy my whole life. I've been fat shamed, and and I've always struggled with, my body perception and that sort of thing. And when
is it a moral failing? Is it because you're not as good of a person as somebody, some psychopath who's running 7 days a week? Sorry, not a psychopath.
No.
Somebody who's running from something, who has mental issues, that is running 15 miles a day.
No, again, I've grown to accept, right, my body. And,
sorry.
I just don't see why, again, someone's even taking the time to make an issue of this. But right. I don't know. I see your point.
I just think it's another thing that's on the table that is not going to be acceptable soon.
No, it's not acceptable. It's never been acceptable. I mean, it
is acceptable. It is acceptable across a lot of platforms. It starts with us in the media,
yeah.
and part of what pushes that is the horrible shaming that those people on camera. I'm not talking about us radio folk for the most part, but on TV, the stuff that they have to go through from the very beginning. And you're one little hair's out of place, somebody's all over you.
Yeah.
You gain 5 pounds, somebody's all over you. So then that gets dumped on to everybody else. Because it's happening to them, It is going to happen to everybody else.
No, it's true. I mean,
like that C word Playboy model who was shaming the old lady who is in a gym. And if I can't unsee this, neither can you. F you. I'm done with it. Yeah. So is everybody. It's too many people and so I like this piece. I want to see more pieces like this, and I want to see this professor pay a price. You and I see this differently.
Yeah,
I'm obviously hangry right now. I haven't eaten today. All right, Prince Harry and Prince William cameos in the new Star Wars film. Next story. And
Roy would have loved that story. We should have brought that up when he was here.
And the
huge Star Wars fan.
The last story that I had on my slate today was the world's first human head transplant.
He looks like he's had a human head transplant.
Yeah, or he looks like the evil guy that would come up with such a thing. This
like if
scientist.
Pinky and the Brain were to become a movie, like he should be the first person they call to cast for
the Brain.
That's right.
The world's first human head transplant has been carried out on a corpse in China in an 18-hour operation that showed it was possible to successfully do so, to reconnect the spine, the nerves, and blood vessels. At a press conference, an Italian professor, Sergio Canavero, the director of blah, 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 announced that his team had, quote, realized the first human head transplant and said an operation on a live human will take place imminently. What do you mean imminently? Imminently means, doesn't that mean imminent? Like now? Like
are they going to go and decapitate somebody just to try it out?
Yeah, like this was that was their test show. All right, they already had somebody lined up. They're ready to put a head on.
I wonder if they just stand outside their office and they go, that guy right there.
Yeah. The first human transplant on human cadavers has been done. A full head swap between brain dead organ donors is the next stage. Quote, and this is the final step for the formal head transplant for a medical condition which is imminent. Holy crap. So there you go. And by the way, I guess this was the same team if I
and what would and what I wonder is that what would justify this, right? Like under what conditions would you need this? And then really does it serve, what purpose does it serve?
What if you have some big, I don't know, cancer that's riddled throughout your head or something? Like, hey, you know what we can do? We can just take that guy's head over there who just died.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the same person.
Right.
You're right. What are you accomplishing? You're not saving somebody's life because you're essentially taking somebody else's life to give it to somebody else.
Yeah, because that would be that person's brain. It's not your brain anymore.
Right.
So technically it's just your body.
It's a completely different person.
But I want to say that these were the same group of people that put the head on the monkey last year, or the year before.
Right, you mentioned that.
Yeah, and that was a success. Well, I don't know where it's going to go.
I mean, I get from a medical standpoint or a scientific standpoint, the reconnecting of the spine and the nerves and all that. That's a huge advancement. But I don't see this being, I don't think it's something that's going to become commonplace because I don't see what it accomplishes. You're not saving someone's life. Again, like you said, if you have a brain tumor, giving you someone else's brain, well, now that's a completely different person.
All right, Mr. Torres, anything else you want to hit before we get out of here?
No, thank you so much for watching. We're going to continue to be adding stuff, so expect some new flashy things. Hopefully for next week's show, we'll be tweaking it and working on it like we do every day.
Oh, damn it. This is one thing that I forgot to, because I didn't put it in my tab. I had it separate on my laptop there. Well, that's some irony right there. I don't think I would have tweeted that out if I were him.
Would you have tweeted out anything he tweets out?
Good.
I mean...
Touche, sir, touche. But, one person comes forward and accuses Al Franken of groping. But Donald Trump is caught on tape bragging about this kind of stuff. And not only that, but 5 or 6 women. Now, I'm not saying they were all I have no idea. It just comes down to if you're going to accept the credibility of these people over here when it comes to this person, are you going to accept the credibility over here when it comes to a person that's on your team, on your side? And the Al Frankenstein picture is really bad, speaks 1,000 words. Where do his hands go in pictures 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 while she sleeps? And then this is him doing something that is pretty evil for a president. Because there's no pictures 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're trying to take the imagination and draw it into different areas. The picture is bad enough of it within itself. It stands alone. That this woman was sleeping, and Al Franken goes over and pretends he's going to honk her hoots. And see, even when you're talking, I can't talk about it respectfully. To grab her breasts. And for Donald Trump to follow up with something like this, I don't know. I guess if I'm going to go off on this one tweet, why go ahead and pick 10 more and go off on those? So.
Well, and what bothers me, and regardless of party, what really gets under my skin is hypocrisy. And it just from every angle just reeks of hypocrisy. And while it's one thing to say what he did on the bus and that sort of thing, but he's also had allegations against him for doing certain things. I think he should have just stayed quiet on this issue, because he's obviously not free from those similar transgressions.
All right. Thank you so much for being part of the Wake.Show today. Make sure you share and like. Thank you so much for doing so thus far. And hopefully if this thing keeps growing, we keep adding other elements. We got a great phone call that I'm looking forward to. Is it this weekend? I believe it is. And adding another element to the show, a health style,
which we could both use.
You better believe it. One of the we're not going to sit here and just give our opinions on the news today. We'll babble on about the news today. Yeah. We've got to make the show about something. And so we're going to add another layer, and that'll be a weekly segment, I think, if everything goes well over the weekend. We're bringing a health expert. It's not just asking random questions. It'll start with us. Hey, so let's talk about this part of me right now.
Oh, nice. Look at that. That's sexy.
Is there anything we can do? I'm a man, or at least I've been told I'm a man, but I seem to be growing boobs. Is there anything else I can be doing? And at the 40, in my mid 40s now, going into my 40s, I was told that I need to change my lifestyle. Like my late 30s, like, hey, you better do something now, because as you get to 40 and, deep into your 40s, your body just, you're not going to be able to go on some weird diet for a couple of, weeks, and then you're back to normal.
Yeah.
Things are going to change significantly, and they were right. But I haven't changed my lifestyle. So hopefully bringing on a trainer, basically, kind of every single week will whoop me into shape, and in turn you guys will learn stuff along the way.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Will talking to him be enough? Like, is that okay? Like, does that fulfill that requirement? Or
well, it might fulfill a requirement for other people. Like, it encourages other people, motivates somebody else to live a healthier lifestyle. But just talking to him is not going to help me any. So we'll have to put some kind of a plan together. Thank you very much once again. You have a great weekend. Be safe. Next week, Thanksgiving, which has caught a lot of people by surprise. You notice that?
Yeah.
Caught a lot of people by surprise. Caught me by surprise too. I'm like, wait a second, isn't there like 2 weeks left? But it's
I blame the Christmas creep.
The what?
The Christmas creep. Like all these stores, retailers, everybody's already talking Christmas, and we haven't even hit Thanksgiving yet.
But I guess Thanksgiving's not the last weekend or the last Thursday in Thanksgiving or in
that too.
November.
The calendar's
it's the
all
fourth.
screwed up. Yeah.
Right. It's the fourth week.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's how, I don't know, or whatever. Thanksgiving's next week, so don't be surprised when people are showing up at your house wanting some turkey next Thursday. Have a great day, safe weekend, and we will see you Monday morning, 7 o'clock at the Wake.Show.